Touchdown Club football and cheer boosters would like to recognize and honor our senior members of the football team, cheer team, and TV studio, along with their parents. At this time, if you could direct your attention to the Boyers end zone, where we will begin our ceremony. First, we'll be recognizing our 2023 Red Tornado senior football players who will be introduced in numerical order. Number 3, Captain Maddox Reed, escorted by his father Sean Reed and grandmother Janice Reed. Number 10, Xavier Diaz, escorted by his mother, Jadi Diaz, and brother, Adrian Perez. Number 11, Captain Cole Spears, escorted by his parents, Gary and Carrie Spears. Number 13, Daniel Velasquez, escorted by his parents, Dan and Stephanie Velasquez. Number 15, Captain Jacob Schultz, escorted by his parents, Ed and Amanda Schultz. Number 17, Orville Fesniak, escorted by his father, Oliver Fesniak. Number 19, Ethan Urbanovich, escorted by his parents, David Urbanovich and Amanda Reed. Number 44, Ryan Widener, escorted by his parents, Terry and Tracy Widener. Number 72, Maddox Lamas, escorted by his parents, Shauna Lamas and Jesse Volkler. Next, we will recognize our senior cheerleaders who will be introduced in alphabetical order. Hannah Benedict, 4-year member and captain, escorted by her parents, Scott and Melissa Benedict. Lauren Bogovich, 3-year member, escorted by her parents, Tom and Christy Bogovich. Olivia Boyer, 4-year member, escorted by her parents, Donald and Tanya Boyer. Isabella Brzozowski, 4-year member, captain, escorted by her parents, Tim and Kim Brzozowski. Ava Chapman, 3-year member and captain, escorted by her parents, Jack and Michelle Chapman. Bryn Gasparetti, 3-year member, escorted by her parents, Chaz and Leanne Gasparetti. Aslan Hollenbach, 1-year member, escorted by her parents, Kim and Joe Toolin. Kayleana Kalbarczyk, 4-year member and captain, escorted by her mother, Kristen Horsfield, and her father, Kyle Kalbarczyk. Sydney Reed, 2-year member, escorted by her parents, Dave and Lori Reed. Up next are senior TV studio members of WKMC and their parents. Zoe Psycho, 6-year member of WKMC, escorted by her parents, Ron and Tracy Psycho. Samantha Zatney, 6-year member of WKMC, escorted by her parents, Amy Jo and Greg Zatney. Dominic Tamborelli, 6-year member of WKMC, escorted by his parents, Luann and Keith Tamborelli. On behalf of Coach Dara, Coach Niglio, and Mr. Sakaitis, they each would like to extend a thank you to all of the senior members of the football and cheerleading teams and TV studio members for their time, effort, and dedication that each senior has given to all 3 of these MCA programs. They would also like to thank the parents of all seniors for raising kind, smart, and cooperative individuals who are just beginning to make a difference in this world. We are beyond fortunate and honored to be able to coach and teach this group and wish them nothing but the best in all of their future endeavors. At this time, we'd also like to give a special thank you to Coach Dara, Coach Niglio, and Mr. Sakaitis. You and your staffs have been influential in shaping our seniors into the fine young men and women they have become, and for that, we would like to say thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in honoring your 2023 senior football players, cheerleaders, and TV studio members.
Ladies and gentlemen, now entering the field to present their 2023 show is the Mount Carmel Area Big Red Band. This year's show features music from iconic movie scores, Huey Lewis and the News, and the Tommy Dorsey Band. We open our show with Adventure Films, a piece originally written for the U.S. Air Force Band. Next, we will feature a medley from Huey Lewis and the News, featuring the tunes Power of Love and Heart of Rock and Roll. The show will then close with Tommy Dorsey's jazz classic Sing Sing Sing, featuring the drum section. Soloists this year are Noah Rempel, Rebecca Morales, and Eli Rempel. The band is led on the field by drum majors Dylan Connell and Adrienne Rodriguez. Color guard captains are Sugar Bolam and Fallon Hakobian. This year's staff includes Chris Steller, director, Erica Nestico, assistant director, Bernie Nestico, drum instructor, Joseph Rossi, assistant drum instructor, John Jacoby, assistant to the band director, Jennifer Melnick, color guard instructor, Linda Haas, assistant color guard instructor, Bernie Steller, Kelly Lucas, Luke Darrop, and Cameron Getty, music and marching instructors. We would like to thank Brett Getty, Matt Steller, the MCA School Board and Administration, and especially the MCA band parents for their continued invaluable support. The band would like to recognize the late Paul Prof. Samichek, legendary MCA Mounties director, who wrote the brass and woodwind arrangements for portions of our show. And now, we invite you to sit back and enjoy the 2023 edition of the Mount Carmel Area High School Big Red Band.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Jazz Diminick Field at the Silver Bowl. Tonight, the Red Tornadoes continue their 131st year of football, hosting Southern Columbia in a Heartland Conference rivalry game on senior night. The Mount Carmel Area School District would like to extend a warm welcome to the Tiger football team, parents, and fans. We now ask that everyone please direct your attention to the scoreboard end zone at the Silver Bowl, where our colors are being prepared for tonight's game. Joining us tonight is United States Air Force Technical Sergeant Tyler Horan. Sergeant Horan will be raising our flag in honor of our Disabled Veterans Project and in support of all U.S. service men and women. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sergeant Tyler Horan. Our national anthem tonight will feature MCA senior vocalists Rebecca Morales, Dominic Tamborelli, and Adrienne Rodriguez. The Big Red Band will then follow with the Mount Carmel area alma mater.
Happy Friday to all of you out there, wherever you are and whenever you may be watching. Tonight's WKMC TV broadcast is a Heartland Athletic Conference matchup and so much more.
Yeah.
Sponsored by the Machuzaks in memory of Sue Crowell, featuring the Southern Columbia area Tigers and the Mount Carmel area Red Tornadoes. Good evening, my name is Jim Lesko. Alongside me is my brother Dan Lesko. Jose Gonzalo supports us from the sidelines. And together we're coming to you live from the Jazz Diminick Field at the Silver Bowl in Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania, in the heart of spooky season here, Dan. It's Friday the 13th, and we're ready for battle tonight. The last time these two teams met on the field was in November of 2022. For the second time that season, as has been the case in 5 out of the last 6 seasons.
Yeah.
And if you remember right, from our vantage point right now, before that game started, you could not see across the field.
Yeah.
It was 30 degrees. It was there were blizzard conditions. But at the end of the day, the Southern Columbia area Tigers were victorious, 48-18 over the Red Tornadoes, ending Mount Carmel's season. There's been a lot of talk of revenge this week of the Southern Columbia Tigers looking to avenge last season's regular season loss against the Red Tornadoes, which snapped a streak. But there'll be no talk of that tonight because the Red Tornadoes are out for revenge of their own, Dan.
Yeah, I agree, Jim. I think this is a Red Tornadoes team that is, they've had this game circled on the calendar since that season-ending district championship loss last year. There were a lot of talks around last year's Red Tornadoes team. About this being the team to get them back into the state playoffs, win that district championship. And, unfortunately, they fell at the hands of the Tigers here on their home field. And, it was the last loss last year. Don't want it to be another loss this year.
No, there's almost, as we look in some of the things we talked about coming in tonight, there's almost too many subplots to mention as you go. You have the Red Tornadoes being the winningest football team in the state of Pennsylvania.
Yes.
You have Coach Jim Roth, the winningest football coach in the state of Pennsylvania. Right? You have these two squads that have really storied traditions all around everything they do. Again, it's Friday night at the Silver Bowl. It's senior night here. We're about as amped up as we can be, but none of that matters once the whistle sounds and the ball is kicked to get started. And speaking of kicking, the Southern Columbia Tigers will be without kicker and standout defensive tackle Isaac Carter tonight.
Yeah.
And which will bring up an interesting kind of play here as if and potentially when the Tigers reach the end zone.
Yeah.
You'll see them going for 2.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's going to be, we get a little bit of our intel before the games, and they haven't really decided on a set kicker to kick those extra points. They have some kickers that are capable of doing it, but whether they opt to go for them, in a tight game like this, every points are going to come at a premium. So it's something that you really want to keep an eye out for.
And points coming at a premium, that scoring points has not been a problem for this Red Tornado offense, and that's kind of where we want to dive into here.
Yeah.
This Red Tornado offense has scored 50 or more points in 3 consecutive weeks for the first time since 1921, or since 1923. Thank you, Jose, for that. We do appreciate all Jose's stats. But this team, they're not starved for scoring, Dan, so where do you think that's going to come from tonight for the Red Tornadoes?
I mean, I think the Red Tornadoes, we talk about the capability of Luke Blessing and Xavier Diaz as runners, but I think where the Red Tornadoes are going to have to find their success tonight is going to be in the passing game. This is a very, very aggressive Southern Columbia area Tigers defense up front, and those 2 inside linebackers who we're going to be mentioning a lot in Garrett Garcia and Dominic Federoff. They are a very aggressive team. It's going to be hard to get things going on the ground, but I think Coach Dara has the recipe to kind of slow them down enough and then maybe be able to hit them over the top. He's got a lot of faith in his receivers and in quarterback Cole Spears tonight.
And speaking of Spears, you'll see him on the field right now as a captain tonight. So as the teams head out there for the Red Tornadoes, left to right, it's Noah Shimko, Cole Spears, Jacob Schultz, and Maddox Reed. As we wait the officials, the Red Tornadoes won the toss and deferred. And so the Tigers will start with the ball. And we'll see captains Garrett Garcia, Colton Bloom, and the aforementioned Isaac Carter. So offensively for the Red Tornadoes, we talked about that. On the defensive side, Dan, what are we looking for the from the Red Tornadoes tonight?
I mean, for the Red Tornadoes tonight, you're going to have to defend a very well-rounded offense. I mean, you look at some of these numbers. Garrett Garcia, the leading rusher on the team, 94 carries on the season for 748 yards, 12 touchdowns. Not to be too outdone, though, Loudon Murphy, not too far behind him, 76 carries for 693 and 9 touchdowns. But then you look at the receivers as well. I mean, some of these receivers are averaging 40 yards per reception. You get Hoy, who's 8 catches for 244 yards on the season. followed up by Loudon Murphy, 6 catches for 221 and 5 touchdowns. I mean, they're able to score from so many different areas and in so many different ways. So the Red Tornado defense is going to have to pressure quarterback Blake Wise, and they're going to have to be really stout up the middle to slow down that rushing attack of Garrett Garcia.
Number 2, Carter Madden, 26.
And that attack against the passing game, of course, starts up front. The defensive secondary has been terrific with Kimzel. Morganti's come on strong. Delaney's back healthy. But, of course, on that defensive line, you have that tandem of Karicki and Belichick, who have 10 sacks between them.
Wow.
But as we talk this through, it's time to go here. Blessing's kick is a low liner. It's going to bounce and roll, and it's going to be picked up by Carter Madden as he steps out of bounds. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Tigers from their own 17-yard line.
Yeah, we'll see again. This Tiger offense here taking the field, and again they can hurt you in a lot of ways. I mean, Blake Wise, I think the recipe for the Red Tornadoes is you want to force the Tigers into passing situations. You want to put them in passing downs. Their strength is their run game. Wise has good numbers throughout the year, 707 yards, 8 touchdowns, only 1 interception. But if you look at last week against Central Columbia, he was only 3 of 6 for 68 yards and a touchdown. So they did most of their damage on the ground.
And we'll see Murphy right away off the right side. Not much there. Very short game, excuse me, that was Garcia.
Yeah, and again, Garcia's going to be your in-between the tackles guy with Carter Madden and Loudon Murphy playing in those wing spots. They're going to be working to the outsides and in the 5 and 6 hole against this Red Tornado defense. So we'll see how the Red Tornadoes scheme to stop things.
The Tigers will split Jake Hoy to the far side, and they'll come in that direction with Carter Madden. He's going to pick his way, and the ball's on the ground, and the Red Tornadoes are going to recover. It's going to be 1st and 10 Red Tornadoes. It's going to be inside the 35. We'll have to see exactly where they went out of bounds, but the first break of the night goes to the Red Tornadoes.
And that's a huge play there for this Red Tornado defense. It looked like Carter Madden had a little bit of room here. As you see on this, we'll see who gets that punch out, and that's number 1, Belichick, with a little help from Schultz there, knocking that ball loose, and then Maddox Reed comes up with it at the end.
And we talked about the problems Matthew Belichick causes on the defensive line. Chase Belichick does it in the secondary.
Yeah. Now we'll see. Red Tornadoes, I mentioned they might want to throw the ball against this aggressive defense. Look at the opening in the middle of the field, Jim. There's so many opportunities downfield as long as the line can protect and give Spears time.
Spears in the gun. That's Blessing to his left. And Spears is going to throw quick in Belichick's direction. A nice completion there.
Spears pass complete.
Pick up about 4 down to the 27.
And that's what the Red Tornadoes are going to have to do. They're going to have to get the ball in and out of Spears' hands quickly, because majority of the time, if the Tigers are reading pass, they're sending one of those 2 inside backers.
And you see here, look at the Southern defensive lineman. You have to keep tabs on it as the night goes on. Spears is looking down the middle. He's got Schultz behind. He just overthrew him a little bit. But that's open because in addition to having Jake Hoy, that's Hoy, that's 6. Yeah. In addition to having Hoy over Diaz, the safety, Braden Andrews, shaded in that direction.
Yeah, and that's going to be something. I mean, we talk about Diaz and his numbers. Receiving this year, 27 for 559 and 6 touchdowns. He's definitely going to be the guy that the Tigers want to keep an eye on.
And so on 3rd and 5, the Red Tornadoes go to the old hard count, and they're going to pick up 5 here as the Tigers jumped. It'll just be kind of a matter of, will it have the first down? Will it be a few inches short? We'll have to wait until they actually walk it off. It looks like it should be okay.
Yeah, I mean, where the 3rd down marker is in between the sticks, it looks smack dab in the middle. So I think this is going to be enough for a first.
And there's no signal. So no, it's about the length of the football short.
Okay.
Offside penalty against the Tigers.
So we'll see what Coach Dara opts to do here. 11:09 remaining early on. The Red Tornadoes kicked to the Tigers, but a Chase Belichick caused fumble recovered by Mount Carmel has them in business early in the first quarter. Spears turns, he hands it to Blessing, and Blessing has the first down, and now he's got the end, and Blessing is in from 22 yards. The Red Tornadoes strike first. It's 6-0 Mount Carmel.
And Jim, that's a huge start for the Red Tornadoes. You get the turnover on the defensive side of the football, and then you drive down the field, not down the field, but you take advantage of the short field, and you put 6 points on the board to take an early lead here. So, and credit, great run by Luke Blessing, great vision. We've talked about it all the time, but credit to Chase Belichick on the outside, driving his defender inside and opening up that sideline for Blessing.
Snap is a little bit high. Adams yanks it down, and Shoppy drills it through. 7-0 Mount Carmel.
Yeah, and you see Adams pull that one down. He did mention he's got the best hands on the team last night at Supper Club, so that's good. A great job there by Adams pulling that one down.
Yeah, that's about as good for Supper Club, good of a plug for Supper Club as you're going to get.
Yeah.
So again, if you're in the Mount Carmel area on Thursday nights, you want to make sure you make your way to the Tucci's Willow Street Cafe around 6:30. Although I'd recommend getting there around 6.
Yeah.
You get to meet some members of the football team, perhaps cheerleaders, band members, TV studio. All depends on the week, and you can talk to Coach Darren and company about the upcoming night. A night that couldn't have started any better for the Red Tornadoes, as you see Blessing's touchdown run there. Another thing we want to point out, WKMC TV, again, student-run TV studio. We're really proud of that here at Mount Carmel. And you may have noticed a little addition to some of the graphics packages that we have going on here.
Yeah.
A little more drilled down into the individual players making some of these plays. So it's pretty neat, always trying to do the best that we can to put on a great production.
Yeah, the player profiles when you got a big play, that's awesome to see. I mean, that's professional level stuff.
So we haven't played a minute yet, but the Red Tornadoes lead 7-0. Blessing will kick again. It's a little bit shorter. It's going to be taken by Biermas. It'll get by him. Madden's going to pick it up around the 15, and now it's a little bit of a fire drill. The Red Tornadoes stay in their lanes, and it'll be inside the 20 again for the Tigers to start.
Yeah, and again, another good job there by the Red Tornadoes. You know, we talked about kind of last week, they were trying out some different kickers. They had Karicki doing it. They had Blessing doing it, and it looked like they went with Blessing this week. And he's not going to boom it over your head, but sometimes those in-between ones are just as beneficial as you see here.
Again, the names and numbers may change at Southern, but the formations do not. Wise is under center. He's going to turn and hand it to, looks like that's Murphy, who picks his way up the middle. We get to around the 25.
Yeah, it looked like Belichick in there on the tackle again, and he's just tackling the football tonight. He had a hold of the ball and swung Murphy around. But credit to Murphy for hanging on to it and getting a nice gain.
So it'll be second and a long 5. We talked about that Red Tornado defense, that interior defensive line that's been so successful most of the season. You see Widener and Shimko there in the middle, and it looks like Belichick and Karicki on the ends. And it's going to be a handoff to Garcia, and he's going to try to get the edge, and a great job there, and he stays on his feet. A good run by Garcia looking for contact. Red Tornadoes had him dead to rights a few times, but he stayed on his feet and got out across the 40.
Yeah, and you know, you talk about Garcia. Garcia, they have him listed as 6'1", 225-pound fullback and linebacker. And I mean, he's all of 225 pounds there, Jimmy. You could see it with the way he runs. You know, he keeps a low center of gravity, and he was able to shake off some tackles there to make a nice little gain.
And this will be Murphy to the right side. The Red Tornadoes had a shot. They got a second and a third. Great team defense there around the football, and Murphy's going to be dropped for a loss.
And this is one thing that the Tigers have always done well is move the ball laterally. They're always, you know, the wing tee that Coach Roth runs. It's a lot of getting to the sideline, using your speed guys. But the Red Tornado defense has been flowing to the ball so well over the past few weeks on the defensive side of the ball, and that lateral movement is going to be tough for the Tigers to get going.
Murphy comes in motion, but they're going to hand it right up the middle again, and there's nowhere to go for Garcia. Shimko grabbed him up high and rode him into the turf.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, for the Red Tornadoes, most of the Red Tornadoes, you're going to be telling them to hit Garcia around the waist or lower. But when you're Noah Shimko, you got the size. You can wrap him up around his shoulders. I mean, Shimko's sitting at 6'5", 305. So he's a little bit bigger than Garcia is.
So it'll be 3rd and 8 here for the Tigers. The ball just outside the 45. Wise under center. He's going to look to throw, and it's batted down by Belichick. He was looking for Chrisman on a quick rocket screen, but Belichick saw it coming the whole way, got his hand up and batted it down.
Yeah, that's Matthew Belichick there, getting his hand on that one. After, we talked about Chase Belichick on the offensive side of the ball and defensive side of the ball last drive. Matthew Belichick turning that one away, doing a great job. And that's what you have to do. You're coming off the edge. Just make sure you get your hands in the air. You always give yourself a chance to knock something down.
And we talked about Isaac Carter being on the sideline for the Tigers tonight. That'll bring Garrett Garcia into punt, and that's a nice punt. Diaz is going to get out of the way. It's going to take a Red Tornado bounce followed by a Southern Tiger bounce.
Yeah.
And it's going to be out of bounds at around the 23-yard line. So 1st and 10 Red Tornadoes from that point.
Yeah, we'll see this Red Tornado offense now with a full field to play. But I mean, just a great start on offense on that first drive. Threw the ball twice to kind of open up that run for Blessing on 3rd down, and it paid.
Little confusion in the backfield there for the Red Tornadoes. 10 seconds left on the play clock. Diaz and Blessing are in the backfield. And Spears is going to give it to Diaz up the middle. And he'll get out across the 25 to about the 29. Nice pick of a 6.
Yeah, and it's not something you normally see from the Red Tornadoes, giving the ball to Diaz in between the tackles with all the speed that he has. But he turned it into a nice game. Changing things up a little bit here for the Red Tornadoes.
And you see the Red Tornadoes spreading it out really forces the Tiger defensive backfield, and especially Braden Andrews, to almost pick a side.
Yeah.
And Spears is going to throw, and he's got Diaz over the middle. It'll be a 1st down on a nice slant pattern as Diaz got inside the coverage.
And it's a great job by Spears, too. Great location for that pass, because the coverage was good on Diaz, but he put it low where only Diaz could go down and get it, protected himself, and he knew he had enough for the 1st down.
Spears, in addition to all the other things, is a very accurate passer. He's up around 67% completion rate this season. 16 touchdowns against only 3 interceptions. And he'll throw again. He's under pressure immediately. Rolls to the left. He's going to float it out to Schultz. It's a good ball. Out of bounds, incomplete. 2nd and 10.
Yeah, and I think, Jim, when you see cover 0 from that Tigers defense, no safety help over the top, Spears has to know he's gonna have to get that ball out quick. As you saw there, they brought a lot of pressure up the middle. It looked like Fedorov was the first one through, putting the pressure on him.
Again, even with the extra defender, that Red Tornado offensive line holds up just enough to give Spears a second to get rid of it. And again, they go Shimko, Lamas, Herbs, Spears, and Delaney right to left. And it's a quick out to Diaz, and he's got red jerseys in front of him. Now Diaz is going to have to make a sprint. Makes one defender miss. It's going to be a foot race. Murphy's the only one that could get him, and he does, but it's a big gain from the Red Tornadoes all the way into Tiger territory inside the red zone. They're going to mark him out of bounds. Looks like at the 19-yard line.
And Jim, the great adjustment by the Red Tornadoes. They come out after the pressure on Spears. They know they got to get the ball out of his hands quickly. They see the same coverage from the defense there, and they go with the perfect play call, a little wide receiver screen, a rocket screen, and you get red jerseys out in front of Diaz, and he's got space.
Credit Seth Spears. He was making blocks at the 15-yard line.
Wow.
And it's Blessing again up the middle. And he'll pick his way. He's got the edge. He's still on his feet. Oh. Inside the 5. He's going to be stopped right around the 1-yard line. And so Jim, another tough run by Blessing.
And Jim, this Red Tornado offense is just eating right now. I mean, you can feel the energy coming from the sideline, from that, not huddle, but up on the line of scrimmage. They smell blood in the water here on this drive.
1st and goal Diaz comes in motion, but they give it to Blessing, and he's got his second touchdown of the night. It's 13-0 Mount Carmel, 6:41 left in the first quarter.
And Jim, just another great drive by the Red Tornadoes. And you know, credit, we talk about it all the time. It's the players on the field, the kids on the field are the ones that have to execute these plays. But that drive was continued and was kept up by that great play call by Coach Dara and that Red Tornado coaching staff on that wide receiver screen to Diaz, which got them into scoring position.
Shoppy's second kick of the night, same result as the first. It's 14-zip. Red Tornadoes. We want to take a chance here. We always talk about how cool this broadcast is, that we kind of get everywhere, right? We hear from people that are all across the country. We want to give a big shout out to the birthday crew up in Jim Thorpe tonight. You know, in there we got a little watch party there, so appreciate you guys tuning in and supporting the Big Red.
Absolutely, we've got fans near and far. Looks like the majority of the Red Tornado fans are here in attendance tonight. But you're right. I mean, this Red Tornado tradition spans, you know, sea to shining sea.
And it's about as loud and as electric of an environment as you could find anywhere. It's anywhere in the country on a given Friday night.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not many places I'd rather be on a Friday night, Jim.
And that's not lost on the coaching staffs either. If you saw anything Coach Dara or Coach Roth said in the papers this week, it was all very much everybody circles this game on their calendar. That's going to be Joey Williams. He's going to take that at about the 26, and a good job there by Morganti to start it. And Reed will finish it off.
Yeah, great job there by the Red Tornado kick coverage team. Because you're right, that time the Blessing's kick stayed in the air a little bit longer. They were able to catch it without it taking a bounce. But the coverage team just got down there so quick.
Again, thus far, as good as the Red Tornado offense has looked, the defense has been equally as impressive. Look to keep that up here on the Tigers' third drive of the night. Wise will turn its quick handoff to Garcia, and he's got some space now. He'll be just tripped up by Chase Bulichik. There could have been a lot of room there, Dan.
Yeah, there was. If he was able to keep his feet, that would have turned into a huge gain, if not 6 points there for the Tigers. So credit to Chase Bulichik coming up from his safety spot to make that shoestring tackle. But there was a big hole there for Garcia.
So it'll be second and short, about 2 from the 44. Time to get a fake, and Wise is going to throw, and he's got one man in coverage. It's Hoy, and he's got him. Hoy goes, no, it's incomplete. Chase Bulichik never gives up on the play.
It's a fumble.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Now it's being ruled incomplete by the other official.
Okay, I saw the white flag come out, and I thought that they were calling that a fumble. It looked like Hoy secured that catch and was trying to make a football play.
I take back what I said. That is a fumble. You see it on the replay there. He makes the catch. He gets 2 feet down. He goes to turn his body. That's a fumble.
Yeah, I mean, great job either way by Bulichik. But you're right. That could have been a huge momentum swing had that stayed with the call on the Red Tornado sideline over here of a fumble.
But now we're back to reality, so to speak, where it's 3rd and 2. And the Tigers turn around. They're going to go right up the middle. And Garcia's going to be stopped in the backfield. The play was initially made. We'll wait to see who gets up. I think that's Matt Bulichik.
I think so too, Jim. There's a lot of red jerseys around that ball, but I think you're right. Bulichik, Reed, these guys are just swarming to the football, but this is the 4th and short here, and we're going to see the Tigers going for this one.
And you see the Red Tornadoes make a little personnel change there as they'll bring in a little extra beef with Lamas and Shimko, as well as Bumps, 55, Logan Erb, and Karicki along that defensive line with Schultz and Bulichik at the ends. Wise is going to turn, he's going to hand it off, And Murphy's not going to get there. Excuse me, Matt, they're not going to get there. It's a turnover on downs for the Red Tornadoes.
And Jim, I mean that was a situation where if you're Coach Roth, you think this is a big play. We're only over halfway through this first quarter, but this is a huge play here. You're down 2 scores. You need to convert this 4th down, and the Red Tornado defense just answered the call.
And there's 2 things that happened on that play. Number 1, 44 Shane Widener blew up the man across him and penetrated the backfield, forcing Madden to move, and then Big Max Karicki grabbed him and didn't let him go.
Yes.
1st and 10, Red Tornadoes at the 45. They lead 14-0 here at the Silver Bowl. Spears to throw, and he's going to go for Belichick just outside his reach, but I think we're going to get a hold on the Tigers as it was a stutter and go from Belichick.
Yep.
And that's one of those times where the penalty might be the least of the problems.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the penalty had he not held Belichick, that's 6 points.
Right.
You know, Belichick got the separation right at the end, and it would have absolutely turned into 6 points. So that's a humongous play there for the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, I was wondering where the Red Tornadoes were going. Operating and Tigers as well, kind of operating almost
as it was a spot fall.
Right?
Yeah.
Not the case here at the high school level. It's a 10-yard penalty, but nevertheless, Red Tornadoes now have the ball at the 35 and have given the Tigers yet another wrinkle to think about here early on. Now Spears looks and he hands it off to Diaz, who's going to run right into the back of his line. It'll be flung down by Garcia.
Yeah, again, that's a tough one. You know, Diaz is that speed guy for the Red Tornadoes. You know what I mean? You saw his ability on the last drive with that wide receiver screen. It's going to be tough sledding for him up the middle, especially with all the pressure that the Tigers bring.
Not to mention just what Garcia and Fedorov can do from a purely tackle standpoint at that linebacker. And here they come. And again, it's that quick out to Diaz. And now here we go. It's a foot race. And nobody's going to catch Diaz. And it's a Red Tornado touchdown, 36 yards.
Wow,
Spears
Jim.
to Diaz. It is 20-0 here with more than 4 minutes remaining in the first quarter.
Yeah, Jim, this has been a impressive showing from the Red Tornado. This is absolutely the best offensive showing we've seen from this Red Tornado team so far this year.
Which is saying something.
Yeah. I mean, we just talked about in pregame how they put up 50 points in 3 consecutive games. But this, against this caliber of a defense, the way that they are just picking them apart is very impressive.
And another one for Shoppy, and it's 21-0 here on a Friday night at the Silver Bowl. And we talked about Diaz, so that's 36 yards for Diaz on that pitch and catch. He had the big gain on the screen earlier. Diaz came into tonight, and again, as always, right, a lot of these stats are courtesy of our good friend Jose Gonzalo.
Yeah.
Diaz came into tonight averaging about 179 total offensive yards per game.
Yeah.
And 16.5 yards a touch.
That's,
well,
those are impressive.
I think he's over that.
Yeah.
16 yards a touch so far tonight.
Yeah, I would say so.
Even with the carry for only a yard.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jim. I think those two receptions for big gains that he has so far has definitely skewed that stat line a little bit.
I think there were a lot of things to like about the Red Tornadoes' chances coming into tonight. The Red Tornadoes made some changes in the offseason. Speaking of changes. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I thought so for a second. I saw Blessing coming back to the sideline.
The Red Tornadoes made a lot of changes this offseason to their offense. It's well documented.
Yeah.
Coach Dara talked at length at different times about focusing on matchup, believing that the offense he installed this offseason best suited the skills and talents of his players.
Yeah.
It's hard to argue with him at this point.
Yeah, it absolutely is, Jim. And I mean, this is still early in this game, but this has been a very impressive performance from this Red Tornadoes team.
And he's going to take a short hop to Madden again. And get a good return out across the 35, excuse me, about the 37. I want to give credit there as we tried it. 17 Orville Fesniak is really, he's not going to get the tackle. but he's the only reason Madden didn't get the edge.
Absolutely. I mean, he did a great job containing that and sending that back in. And the tackle actually came from behind with Keegan Brown and Max Karicki both combining for that one.
2 freshmen, mind you.
Yeah.
So it's 1st and 10 from the 37. The Tigers trail the Red Tornadoes early here in the first quarter. Madden in motion. Wise is going to throw, and he's going to go right down the middle. He's got Murphy behind the defense. It's a big play. Murphy will be down at the 16-yard line. So a huge play when the Tiger offense really needed one.
Absolutely, Jim. You're 100% right. And I mean, great tackle there by Jalen Delaney downfield, coming from the opposite corner spot. But you're right, Murphy got just a step, and Wise delivered a beautiful throw. Put it on him.
Maybe about a 47-yard completion. Have the Tigers not just inside the red zone for the first time tonight, inside Red Tornado territory for the first time tonight.
Yeah.
And it'll be Garcia off the right side. He's going to stay on his feet, power forward down to about the 10.
Yeah, good job by the Red Tornado defense there. Again, we talked about the size of Garrett Garcia. He's a big kid, and he moves well. So once he gets moving, I mean, he's tough to take down. But the Red Tornado defense has been doing a really good job to this point defending against that power run.
Garcia had a heck of a week last week. 10 carries, 269 yards. Yes, you heard that right. 10 for 269. The Red Tornadoes are going to take a timeout here. They're first of the night. Again, we want to take an opportunity to thank the Machuzaks sponsoring tonight's game in memory of Sue Crowell. Memory of Sue Crowell. So Sue is a longtime supporter of Mount Carmel Athletics, as well as a past owner of Mount Carmel Fitness Center in Oak Street that everybody kind of knows about. And I think everybody who's grown up in this area knows that the fitness center and spent time there.
Yeah.
So more than 20 years of athletes from Mount Carmel use that facility, and Sue used that facility for their growth. And Sue, of course, was a guiding force. She impacted the lives of so many young men and women. There are people that loved her so much, and the Machuzak family really wanted to sponsor this game tonight in her memory. So we certainly appreciate that and thank everyone for their sponsorship, their support, and honor the memory of Sue tonight.
Yeah, Jim, you talked Coach Dara, not super happy about having to take that timeout. It looked like the Red Tornadoes were trying to put in their big package there to kind of stop the run down here in the red zone, and there was a little miscommunication there. He only had 10 guys on the field.
Murphy will motion behind. They'll hand it to him off the right side. He's going to get the edge, kind of, right?
Yeah.
He may have enough for a first down. We'll have to see where they mark him out of bounds.
Yeah, it's going to be close either way.
It'll be short. Looks like it's going to be a yard short. So it'll be third and 1. The ball resting at around the 7-yard line.
And Jim, I would think that Coach Roth kind of learned his lesson on the 4th and short in the last drive. If I'm calling the offense for the Tigers and I've got a 3rd and short, a 4th and short, Garrett Garcia's got to be the guy getting the football.
Tight formation. It'll be Garcia right there off the right side, and I think he's going to have the first down because he didn't need a whole lot, but he didn't get a whole lot.
No, the Red Tornado defense is doing a great job, and at this point in the game, Jim, if you're the Red Tornado defense, you gave up a big play to kind of set the Tigers up in this position, but you're not giving up points easily. You don't want the Tigers to score quickly if you're going to allow them to score.
1st and goal inside the 5 now. It looks right around the 4. 2:20 and counting here in the first quarter. This time it's Madden, and he'll take the handoff, and he's going to fight forward. It looked like it was Widener that had him, but Madden kept his feet moving and got down to about the 2.
Yeah, he fought tough there for a couple extra yards because it looked like Widener had a hold of him and was not going to give any ground there.
Last carry brought down by Widener. Game of 2 brings up a 2nd and goal for the Tigers.
Wise comes in from the sideline again. The Red Tornadoes keep that that beef up front. Ben Miller and Reed as the linebacker shooting. They're going to go to Garcia, and Garcia is going to be in for a Tiger touchdown from 2 yards out. So it's 21-6 here at the Silver Bowl.
Yeah, the Tigers went a little bit quicker there. They got up to the line, and Wise snapped that ball pretty much immediately to almost catch the Red Tornado defense off guard.
As we mentioned before, the Tigers will opt to go for 2. So we want to thank the folks at Southern. Help us out with some of these player profiles as well. Appreciate their partnership on that. But Wise turns around and he hands it. And Madden's in.
Yep.
So it'll be 21-8 here. 1:37 left in the first quarter.
And this is one of the highest scoring first quarters we've seen in a long time. I mean, it's 29 points, and we've still got, with how quickly the Red Tornadoes have been able to score on the offensive side of the ball, we could be looking at another score on the board before we're out of this first quarter.
Well, I think one thing here that's somewhat helpful, if you're the Red Tornadoes, is you look at this and you say, well, we never expected a shutout tonight.
No.
Right? So the points on the board from the Tigers here in the first quarter is not anything that's going to kind of rattle your cage.
Absolutely not. And that's the thing. It's always nice that when you give up a score when you already have a comfortable lead.
Right.
You feel a little bit better about it.
The Red Tornadoes will send Diaz and Kimsel back deep for the kick. It'll be Jace Malakowski kicking off for the Tigers. Jace is a big kid, 6'3", 190-pound freshman.
Freshman, wow.
He doubles as a tight end, and I can tell you, we saw him in warm-ups. He's got some hands on him.
Yeah, he does.
High kick, it's going to be in front of Kimsel. We'll have to see how it bounces. He takes it on a hop at the 15. He's going to try to get across the field and get up. He's got some space, a good return out to about the 35-yard line. It'll be first and 10 Mount Carmel from there.
Yeah, it looked like the tackle there made by Colton Bloom for the Tigers. Red Tornadoes, again, in pretty decent field position here to start this drive.
As expected, no real changes from the Red Tornadoes here on the setup. Glitchick will be split to the short side of the field. That's Schultz way out there to the left. Schultz had a nice game last week. 6 catches for 62 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
That was his 4th on the season. Spears. We're going to get a flag here on the Red Tornadoes. It's a false start.
Procedure penalty indicated against the Red Tornadoes.
And they called that pretty quick. I'm kind of curious if the Diaz motion had anything to do with that.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to see here.
So first and 15 now, really, in a quarter that's been pretty clean for the Red Tornadoes. That might be the first backward step we've seen.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Now it'll be Schultz and Diaz to the left, and Bailey's out there too, just barely, although he'll pick up a couple extra yards. The Tigers show blitz, and it comes, and again, the Red Tornadoes are happy to run that screen to Diaz, who's still on his feet. And we're going to look for that all night as Diaz is going to get out to the 39. It'll bring up 2nd and 7.
Yeah, so you get the penalty yards back plus a few. So the Red Tornadoes moving in the right direction here again.
And now the hard count will pick up 5 more for the Red Tornadoes. And you can see the Tigers are anxious to blitz.
Yeah, and I talked about that at the outset, that this is a very aggressive Southern Columbia Area Tigers defense, and it's usually Fedorov and Garcia. One of them either coming off the edge or coming up the middle, and they're trying to time that snap. They had it down on the 1st and 15 play, but thankfully Spears got the ball out of his hands quickly. They recognized it, the Red Tornadoes did, and they get the hard count to put them in a better 2nd down situation here.
Again, we've tried to talk about it as much as we can. Give that Red Tornado offensive line credit as they give Spears a pocket, and he's got Diaz, who's interfered with, but he's still on his feet. He's going to be inside the 15. It'll be the 16, but again, you get that one-on-one coverage. And in those matchups, give me the guy in red.
Yeah, I like my guy against your guy. Anytime you can get number 10 in red in single coverage.
Look how quick we are, Dan, right back up on the ball. And the Tigers are scrambling to try to figure out this formation. They're going to flip it out to Diaz again. It'll be incomplete. Got a late flag on the play, though.
Yeah, we'll see what this one is.
And I think we've referenced this different times this season, but with Diaz, the old adage, if I'm even, I'm leaving.
Yeah, absolutely.
Going to be a hold against the Red Tornadoes. That play seemed too fast.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I don't know how anybody from the Red Tornado side got a hand on a Tiger with how quickly that play ended.
Well, the Red Tornadoes have done just about everything efficiently tonight, so I guess even that holding call was efficient.
Yeah, very true. But now we'll see as Diaz is on the sideline here getting a little short breather as Jalen Delaney check in for him. See Belichick in one-on-one coverage here to the short side.
And Blessing calling out where the blitzers are coming from. He's going to step up and pick it up, but the screen's set up, so it's a great call by the Red Tornadoes, and it's a big block. And Blessing is in again, his third touchdown in the first quarter.
And that block from Bumps against Garrett Garcia.
27-8 Red Tornadoes. That one was 26 yards for number 24, and watch the replay.
And you'll see it here. Bumps gets the key block on Garrett Garcia here, just to slow him down enough. He was the only guy with an angle on Blessing.
Spears was down inside the 5 again as well. And again, you said it from the beginning, Dan. This defense is so aggressive. The Red Tornadoes came out with a clear game plan to use that aggressiveness against them.
Yep, screen, screen, screen.
And Shoppy's good again, and it's 28-8. And again, let me repeat myself. We are not yet out of the first quarter.
Yeah, this has been an electric first quarter, to say the least, Jim. And you know, I think it's funny. It's something that I like. I know you usually like to mention, to point out when I'm wrong. You know, and I talked about how points would be at a premium here in this game tonight, and we've got 36 points here in the first quarter. So it's, you know, we were going to see one of two things. We were going to see two, explosive offenses or two explosive defenses kind of clashing, and we've kind of seen one explosive offense just getting the better and scheming the best against a very aggressive defense. But again, everybody, you know, I try to temper my enthusiasm at times, because you do continue to look at that scoreboard, and there's still a number 1 in that quarter.
There's so
much
time
there's so much football left to play. I mean, you don't want to blow the lid here off this place too quickly.
But we didn't talk about it in the moment, I think, just because of how effective the Red Tornadoes have been. But to give up the points to the Tigers, and you think, okay, maybe the onslaught is over.
Yeah.
But to come right back and drive right down the field and score again is a great sign.
Absolutely.
We're going to get an offsides against the Red Tornadoes here.
Yeah, and that's something I think you see happen. You know, we talk about Blessing's been he's the official kicker tonight. He's done all the kicking off tonight, but they've put the ball on a different hash, and he's kicking in the opposite direction. Just that one little tweak can kind of throw off the timing for some guys. So this is going to take the Red Tornadoes back 5 yards.
I like Blessing, though. Blessing didn't move the tee until he had to.
Yeah, and you see the Tigers kind of noticing which way the Red Tornadoes are kicking that ball and adjusting accordingly. They did some flip-flop here. They moved Hoy, I believe, up into that second line.
It's a good job by the Red Tornadoes there. It's good tackle by Belichick. Now it's good field position for the Tigers, it'll be about the 45. Yeah, it's going to be right at the 45-yard line. But again, that looks so almost scripted, right? Like that's Blessing put that ball right where he meant to.
Yep, absolutely. I think it's one of those kicks where it's like, hey, we know where the openings are on the field. Let's, even if the Tigers get to the ball before we get a chance to get down there, let's make it take a little bit extra time so we can get down in coverage.
They'll go quick and hand it to Murphy off the right side, and there's nowhere for him to go. The Red Tornadoes do a nice job. We'll see who gets off the bottom of the pile. I see Cricky,
trying to
Reed.
see who it was.
I think that's Widener all the way at the bottom.
Yes, it was Widener. I think Widener came from the near side of the field here and came from the backside and made a really, really nice tackle there to limit that to a minimal gain.
And that'll be the end of the first quarter. So in somewhat shocking fashion here, the Red Tornadoes, well, let me preface that. The Red Tornadoes leading is not so much shocking as it is that it's 28-8. The Red Tornadoes visited the end zone 4 times in the first 12 minutes. Yeah, I mean, it's been an impressive showing from the Red Tornado offense. And again, you know, you look at even the greatest offenses that we've seen in our history, not even here at the high school level, but all across the board. You think, can they sustain this? And I mean, even throughout the first quarter, it was, can they sustain this offense? And they've done it to this point. So we'll be looking to see the Red Tornadoes kind of trying to sustain that through 3 more quarters. Right. You know, yeah. It's going to be difficult, but. Well, I mean, if any team can do it, I think this Red Tornado team can. Well, can I just call out some numbers for you here, Dan, and then you can guess what they are. Yeah. 0, 0, 7, 13, 17, 0, 13. I'm just trying to use context clues here. Points allowed by the Southern Columbia Area Tigers in the first quarter this year. That's points allowed in each of their 7 games so far this year. Wow. The Tigers came in tonight having not given up more than 17 points in a game. Wow. They have 3 shutouts, have given up 50 points overall this season. That's wild. Second and 9 for the Tigers to start the second quarter. Madden goes in motion. He's got a little space on the edge there. Be a good tackle by Reed, but Maddox Reed makes that tackle from behind after a nice gain by Carter Madden. And there was a nice block out there. I believe it was Loudon Murphy on the edge that kind of sprung that run for Madden. We'll see here how the Red Tornadoes decide to answer after giving up a little bit there on the outside. See the adjustments. Longest play on the ground of the night for the Tigers. Wise is going to throw, and he flips it out to Kyle Chrisman. But a great tackle made by Jalen Delaney in the open field for a short gain. That's a huge play by Delaney, one-on-one. And you know, we keep talking about the youth, the infusion of youth on this Red Tornado team. Jalen Delaney, freshman, making a huge play on a seasoned veteran in Kyle Chrisman, a senior for the Tigers. And again, Chrisman, a guy that's averaging, I want to say, about 17 yards of reception. Wow. And now they're going to give it to Madden, and the Red Tornadoes had it stopped, but Madden ran through an arm tackle. He stayed on his feet and picked up a first down. Yeah, it turned that into a really nice play there by Madden, making the guy miss in the backfield. But it looked like it was a recipe for disaster, because even though, I mean, the Tigers run this reverse play so often, it's so quick that they get the handoff done, but it just took a little bit too long. The Red Tornadoes had the penetration into the backfield, but they weren't able to come up with the tackle, unfortunately. And it's a short pitch to Murphy, and there's nowhere for him to go. Too many red jerseys there. It looks like it's going to be Bailey. I think Bailey was on the initial stop. And Carter Madden slow to get up. He's going to head over to the sideline.
Yeah, I mean the Tigers are kind of starting to feel a little bit. They have some room on the outside. At least that's what they're trying to exploit. But the Red Tornadoes, again, one little adjustment, and they're moving so well laterally to the football. They're minimalizing these gains for the Tigers.
So Braden Andrews will be in there. It'll be a handoff to Garrett Garcia, and he's going to try to change direction. He does a nice job. He's still on his feet, making a few Red Tornadoes miss. He'll be knocked out of bounds around the 10, but it'll be another Tiger first down.
Yeah, really nice job there, and I'm not sure if that was by design, but it looked like when the Tigers broke the huddle, there was a little confusion, and they flipped the wing and the split end to the opposite side of the field of where Garcia ended up going with the football. So I'm not sure if it was by design, but it kind of worked. There was a little bit of a fire drill there, and Red Tornadoes caught off guard.
Now the package changed by the Tigers. They bring Hoy and Crispin back in. The Red Tornadoes bring Diaz back in as well, but it's going to be a handoff to Braden Andrews down inside the 5.
Braden Andrews on the carry. Brought down by number 29, Ben Miller. Number 1, Chase Bolichick.
Second and goal from the 4.
A second and goal for the Tigers.
Yeah, we'll see here. I mean, this is a spot where the Red Tornadoes, you really want to toughen up down here inside. But the Tigers looking to kind of defeat the beef up front. Because they're staying in this 2 wide out package, there's no change for the Red Tornado defense.
And it's Andrews off the left side, and he's not going to get in. Nice job by the Red Tornadoes over there again. We'll see who gets up off the bottom. Looks like Shimko and Matthew Bolichick.
Good eyes, Jim. I couldn't see that.
I got the monitor here, Dan.
Okay.
Come on.
All right. Well, I'll still give you that one. And now we see the personnel change for the Tigers and the personnel change for the Red Tornadoes. This is a great chess match between coaching staffs here.
And I appreciate Coach Dara's time so much, and we'll talk about after the snap. We're going to get a flag here. What's happening here?
I mean, whistles came in late. Flag came in early. Whistles came in late.
So we had the benefit of seeing the flag before the players knew the play had been stopped. But just to go back to the comment about Coach Dara, we always appreciate his time, and it's just been so telling this season that, again, when we talked to him in August, he said matchups. That's what he was focused on.
Absolutely.
And we've seen him make personnel changes based on the opponent all season and the down and distance. And again, Dan, I see you pointing here. Yeah. Same deal, right? Crispin and Hoy to the sideline, or at least Crispin. Hoy's still out here split to the right. But the Red Tornadoes send Lamas and Bumps back in. And it's going to be a handoff. Now it's Murphy on the reverse. And again, it's going to be a nice job by Kimsel.
And the ball's out.
The ball is out, and the Red Tornadoes recover. Reed recovered it inbounds. The Red Tornadoes get another stop. My goodness.
What a play by this Red Tornado defense. Bolichick, I think it was Bolichick to the near side, just riding Murphy out towards the sideline, and then that ball comes out. We'll get a great look at it here.
Here's Dan's point.
It's Kimsel.
It's Kimsel, right. Kimsel rides him all the way out, and here comes Chase Bolichick, but Kimsel forced the fumble there.
Yeah.
And Reed is Johnny on the spot, and it's 1st and 10 Red Tornadoes. They're at their own 7, but they lead the Tigers 28-8 with 7 minutes and 29 seconds left in the first half. The official signal ready for play. Red Tornado said, what took so long? And it'll be Blessing off the right side, and he's in space. Blessing's in space. He's down the sideline. It's going to take a great individual effort by Fedorov to keep Blessing from going the rest of the way, but he gets his team out of the shadow of his own end zone.
And that's huge, Jim. I mean, the Red Tornadoes take over that ball inside their own 10-yard line, and now they're at the 25 and up on the ball.
And now they're going to cost themselves 5 here, as there was a little disconnect there. It'll be a false start against the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, Jim, I mean, we've seen this sometimes, even at the college level, where teams are just trying to take advantage. They don't want to allow you to sub. You know what I mean? Especially that you probably have a little bit more size in there because you're expecting a run in the shadow of your own goal line. Hey, now let's widen things out. Let's get up on the ball quick to not let Coach Roth make any substitutions. But unfortunately, that time just a little too quick for the Red Tornadoes.
Red Tornadoes will give you a variation of the shotgun wing here, is that they have Schultz in at the tight end. Bailey is in kind of the slot position just behind him, that wing back. But it's Blessing and Spears in the backfield, and it's Blessing. And he's still on his feet. Somehow he bounced out of there. He's going to finish the run. He'll get across the 30. It's going to be second and short.
And Jim, I mean, what else is there to say about Luke Blessing? I mean, he's been playing out of his mind tonight. The first guy on him has not been able to take him down. And it looked like that play was doomed from the start. He ran into a Tiger defender immediately, but was able to shake him off and turn that into a huge gain.
Blessing's got 500-yard rushing games in 7. And there the Red Tornadoes look for Schultz, and it's a nice job by number 22, Nathan Gallagher, knocking the ball away. Though I think the home faithful here wanted a flag for maybe a little contact there. Yeah, little
contact early. But the ball was just slightly underthrown by Spears, and I think for the officials at least, you give a little bit when the ball's underthrown.
And I would say if the Red Tornadoes didn't operate so quickly, that would have been a good opportunity, Dan, for you to get in your catchphrase of good time for a shot play on second and short.
You're right.
And now it's third and short. The Red Tornadoes need to pick up a first down. And 3rd and 2 will become 3rd and 7. As a false start against Mount Carmel will be called by the officials.
And that one was tough to see, Jim. I didn't see any movement. I mean, that must have been just a slight flinch, if anything.
5-yard penalty will bring up a 3rd and 8.
So the Red Tornadoes now perhaps have to open the playbook up a little bit more here on 3rd and 8. A little bit more equipped for 3rd and long than they had been in years past.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Red Tornadoes trying to get the play call just right. Play clock running down, Spears to throw. He's got time, and he's got a receiver. What a catch by Chase Belichick. That's Crispin draped all over him, but the ball couldn't have been thrown any better, and Belichick hangs on.
Jim, I think Crispin had a hand on that ball. There were 3 hands on that football when Belichick reeled it in, but just using his strength and the basketball ability of Chase Belichick to box him out and make that catch.
Spears tries the hard count, almost gets a taker, but the Red Tornadoes will reset here. Schultz is going to come wide with Diaz inside of him. Now the play clock under 10. Fan base getting a little restless. Spears, Blessing. Just
dragging defenders with him. And I mean, again, we'll mention it. That was Garrett Garcia on the tackle there, who was on Blessing's back. Garcia, again, the 6'1", 225-pound Garrett Garcia that Blessing was able to bring along with him for about 3 or 4 extra yards.
Spears to throw now. He wants Diaz, and he's got him behind the defender. Just can't get there, but there is going to be a flag on the Tigers, as there was enough contact there to just throw off Diaz's space.
And realistically, Jim, I mean, if you're Braden Hoy, what can you do in this situation? I mean, you with the speed of Diaz, and you're in one-on-one coverage. Credit to Coach Roth for having faith in his defensive backs, but when you're defending a receiver with the capabilities of Xavier Diaz, you have to give a little bit of help over the top and have Hoy maybe up on Diaz at the line of scrimmage, not allowing him a release.
So, and that's the defensive holding call we were talking about before the game. That does not result in an automatic first down, but it is a 10-yard penalty that nets a first down.
Right.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Red Tornadoes now at the 43 of the Tigers as we approach the halfway point here in the second quarter. They lead 28-8.
For Diaz on a screen.
Diaz comes in motion across the formation, and Dan's right. It's a little skip pass, but Diaz is in a foot race. A lot of white jerseys over there, but nobody could stop him before he picked up a first down. It's 1st and 10 at the 31.
Yeah, I mean, all the white jerseys were flowing from the middle of the field. It didn't look like anybody ran through with Diaz on that motion, and just a greatly designed play there.
Spears to throw again. He's looking Diaz's way, and they've got him behind the defense. And it's a great play by Hoy as Spears took a shot, but he pops up. And wait, we have a flag on the far side of the field, although that's in the area of offensive holding. So we'll hold our breath and hope that's not the case.
Yeah, we'll see. It appeared that the point was initially in the Tigers' direction.
Will be an illegal man downfield against the Red Tornadoes.
Okay. And I see a little bit of discussion, and you know, I don't like to assume because we don't have ears down there on the field, but I believe it may have been that somebody was covered up. One of the Red Tornado receivers was covered up and was on the line of scrimmage and went downfield.
Interestingly enough there, the Tigers would rather take the result of the down of an incomplete pass than the yards and give the Red Tornadoes first down again.
Very interesting.
Now Diaz will come to the sideline, and Blessing heads over with Schultz, so Spears is by himself in the backfield. The offensive line does a great job holding up, and they look for Blessing, and he's, They liked the matchup. They had Blessing against the linebacker. It was a great ball by Spears, but falls incomplete.
And I mean, that's, you know, in the game that Blessing has had so far, that's the one misstep so far to this point. And I mean, the ball couldn't have been put in a better position. But I mean, credit to Spears on the great throw and just a really well-designed play. You're right. The matchup of, you know, our running back against a linebacker.
Let me tell you, if Blessing makes that catch, this place explodes.
Yeah.
Now Spears under pressure. The Red Tornadoes have a screen set up, and Diaz has space. He'll have at least the first down, if not more. They'll get down to about the 16-yard line. So again, the Red Tornadoes continue to feast on the screen plays.
And that's it. I mean, you take the aggression of that Tiger defense and you just take advantage of it. That's how you do it. And for Spears has to have no fear in there at quarterback running these screen plays, and he has been hanging in there taking shots.
Here goes Blessing right up the middle. He's still on his feet. It's going to be another Red Tornado first down. It'll be 1st and goal from the 5.
And he's going to keep eating, Jim, up the middle. I mean, the Red Tornadoes have just had such a great mix of pass and run that the Tigers, they line up every single play and they don't know what's going to happen.
And it's Blessing again. And Blessing has his 4th touchdown of the night. We're not even at halftime. It's 34-8 Mount Carmel.
This is an incredible football performance from not just this Red Tornado offense, but Luke Blessing. I mean, you know, we talked about it all year that the Red Tornadoes are going to rely on their playmakers. Xavier Diaz, Cole Spears, Jacob Schultz, Luke Blessing. Those are the guys that are making this offense go. And my goodness, is it going.
Shoppy's kick is up. Shoppy says north end zone, south end zone, it doesn't matter, it's good. 35-8 Red Tornadoes. And Dan, when we talk about Blessing, I can't help but go back to last season at North Schuylkill.
Yeah.
If you think about that game, again, that's the game that the Red Tornadoes lose all momentum at one point because of the lightning delay and all other stuff. And that was really, for me, the first time where we saw Blessing as kind of that workhorse, as that guy that's going to take 18, 19, 20 carries right up the middle.
Yeah.
Now, again, he's shown to be so much more than that.
Absolutely.
His explosiveness, his elusiveness, his open field speed. But that was kind of when I realized, hey, you can give this kid 20 carries, and he's going to produce.
Absolutely. I mean, and you're right. That North Schuylkill game, week 1 of last year, was really Luke Blessing's coming out party, and he has proved to be what's that old coach? They are who we thought they were.
Right.
Luke Blessing is who we thought he was. He is a workhorse and a playmaker.
And a workhorse gets to take this one off. It'll be Karicki kicking, and he's going to have a high kick. That's going to be Murphy at the 25. He's going to try to get the edge, and he'll have it. Fesniak's out there is going to get enough of them to slow him down, so a good job by the Red Tornadoes of not letting Murphy take that the distance.
Yeah, really, really good job there by the. It looked like where the play stopped and they took the ball from Murphy was about 8 yards ahead of where they actually marked him out of bounds. That's what I was pointing at.
Oh, right, yeah, you're absolutely right. I thought they were down around the 30, but it's really about the 37.
Yeah, so that was it was a great return there by Loudon Murphy to set the Tigers up in good position here.
See if that'll be the spark this offense needs. Wise is going to throw, and it's Hoy, but it's batted down by Matthew Belichick yet again.
Again, that's two pass deflections, and that's just, again, we talk about it, that's the testament to the push that Red Tornado defensive front is getting, because Wise has taken 2 steps behind the line and getting that ball out immediately, and just the pressure and the push from that Red Tornado defensive front is allowing Belichick to get into the backfield that quickly and get a hand up.
That's Braden Andrews. Wise is going to throw. He's going to fling it out there, and he's got Hoy in front of Delaney. It's a nice reception, but a good job by Kimzel coming back and stopping him before he can pick up too much, and be down to about the 21-yard line, gain of 16.
And Jim, we talk about this, the Tigers defensive backs, but the Red Tornado defensive backs are putting one-on-one coverage a lot of the time. And we've talked about the numbers from Blake Wise and these Tiger receivers and how a lot of them are deep balls. So you have to be prepared for that. Delaney and all the Red Tornado defenders are giving a nice little, it looks like about an 8-10 yard gap.
That's be Braden Andrews off the left side, and he's going to get through the initial wave of defenders, but Miller and Belichick, Chase that is, are going to drop him at about the 16, maybe a gain of 5.
Yeah, that's a good job there again by the Red Tornado defense, just flowing laterally to the football. But just to finish up my point there, that the Tigers are going to need to start taking advantage of that 8-10 yard kind of distance that the Red Tornado defenders are giving to the receivers.
Garcia off the left side. He'll be close to a first down.
Garrett Garcia on the carry, picks up the first down.
He does have the first down. So now again, for the Tigers, this is the second time in a row where they've had first and goal from about as far as you can have first and goal.
Yeah. This is almost one of those situations where you're not sure if it's going to be first and goal or first and 10.
Right. But they're back up on the ball quickly. And this is going to be Loudon Murphy. He's going to try to get the edge, but that's Lukoski that time, who does a great job of kind of riding that one out.
Yeah, that's a fantastic job, Jim. It looked like Lukoski got chipped coming from his defensive back spot and almost got knocked off balance. But as he was backpedaling, Murphy ran right into him. And I mean, a great job by Lukoski just staying on his feet and being able to make that play in the backfield for a loss.
And it's Garcia up the middle, and that's Matt Belichick that time. And nowhere for Garcia to go. Shimko and Reed will finish it off. And Dan, what's so interesting, you made this point before. When the Tigers come out and they send Hoy wide, and Delaney goes with him, the Red Tornadoes are happy to play 10-on-10 at that point.
Absolutely.
They like their odds.
100%. It's the faith that the Red Tornadoes have in Delaney as a defensive back and in their other 10 guys that we think our 10 are just as good, if not better, than your 10.
Hoy not out as far, not split out as far this time. And the Red Tornadoes are going to be jumping around to get a timeout. Give Maddox Reed credit. He started that. There must have been something that Mr. Reed didn't like.
Yeah, and Maddox Reed, we talk about he's a captain out there on the field before every game, captain on that defense, definitely noticing a mismatch or something that he thought the Tigers were going to try to take advantage of. And this is a big 3rd and 10 play here. I mean, again, the Tigers right on the outside of, of the end zone. This is a big 3rd down here.
And another thing, again, I don't know that it matters given the score right now. Again, the Red Tornadoes currently lead by 27 points. They're up 4 scores. So even if Isaac Carter were healthy, Coach Roth probably isn't looking at kicking a field goal here.
No.
So you've got 2 plays, you need 10 yards, and you've got to think that's going to be a real heartbreaker if you're not able to score when you're inside the 10 for the second possession in a row.
Yeah, absolutely, Jim. I think you're 100% right. But you know that again, this is where you're calling on that Red Tornado defense. We need to make a stand. You know, trying to channel some of that late 90s, early 2000s Red Death.
So Garcia and Murphy are split backs behind Wise. The double tight set from the Tigers. And Wise is going to throw, and he's only got 2 guys in pattern. He's got to float it out there, and it's over the head. And they're going to get a defensive pass interference against the Red Tornadoes. And that's a tough one because Hoy wasn't going to be able to catch that football.
No, absolutely not. And that is a tough one there for the Red Tornadoes. But again, I think this is just going to be a half the distance and remain third down. If
yeah, that's what it'd have to be in this case. Again, as we kind of talk through pregame, some of these kind of odd. I think the football penalties are always interesting, especially given that depending on what level you're at, the penalties are administered differently.
Yeah. Yeah, because normally, you know, we talked about it before. If you're in the NFL, that penalty happens in the end zone. It's a 1st and goal from the 1-yard line.
Yep.
So really, I mean, if the Red Tornado defense thought that there was a chance for Hoy to bring that ball down, it's one of those situations where the penalty isn't the worst thing that can happen to you.
Now you'll see if 2 shots from the 5, if they go to run the football again, it's Loudon Murphy, and he's not going to get in. He does get in, excuse me.
I mean, Jim, he's tackled at the 3-yard line.
I'm not sure. Perhaps we can see on a replay here if Murphy reached the ball across the line, the goal line there.
And if he did, credit to him. But I mean, the Red Tornado defense swarmed to that football, and it appeared that he hadn't broken the plane. The pile where Murphy ended up was at the 3-yard line, so it was a tough one to see, at least from up here.
35-14 currently, 2:23 left. The Tigers, as discussed, will go for 2 yet again. Wise is going to throw. He's rolling out and he floats, and he's got nobody, incomplete. I thought he was looking for Malakowski.
Yeah.
But Delaney does a good job batting the ball away, so it'll stay 35-14.
And again, Jim, you know, now the Red Tornadoes, only 1 timeout remaining, but well over 2 minutes to go here in the half. You know, may have an opportunity to put another score on the board.
This is where it's tricky if you're the Red Tornadoes, because you do what works, right? You dance with who brung you, as the saying goes. And the Red Tornadoes have an offense that's aggressive, it's attacking.
Yep.
And so I have no doubt that'll be Coach Darren. He'll look to kind of double up here, because remember, the Red Tornadoes deferred, which doesn't always happen. I feel like the Red Tornadoes went a long time where the Southern Columbia Tigers were in this position of being able to score at the end of the first half and then double up in the second half.
Right.
So this is a nice opportunity for Mount Carmel here, but I think regardless, at the very least, you want to run this clock out.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you see how quickly the Tigers can also score, so you definitely don't want to give them the ball back with enough time.
It's a nice kick by Malakowski. We picked up by Kimzel at the 19, and good coverage by the Tigers. And it's kind of, we see there kind of similar to what befell the Red Tornadoes, what's befallen the Tigers a lot tonight.
Yeah.
Which is once that ball hits the turf, or the beautiful natural grass here at the Silver Bowl, it's kind of a little unpredictable. It's hard to set up a return.
Right. You don't always know exactly what it's going to do. And the first kick return, it bounced beautifully into Kimsel's hands, and he had a nice return out of it. This time around, short hopped on him.
Yeah, that first one was a Sunday hop, as we call them, right?
Yeah.
So now again, 2:18 remaining. It's in the first half. It's 35-14 Red Tornadoes. The ball sits at the 21. Spears hands to Blessing, and there goes Blessing. He stays on his feet out across the 35. First down and more. Give him 15 yards on the carry out to the 36.
And again, Jim, you know, the success the Red Tornadoes are having almost has this Tigers defense kind of scratching their heads, you know, wondering what do we scheme to stop? If we can't stop both, we have to stop at least one.
As we've seen all night, Spears employs the hard count. The Tigers don't bite, so he looks to the sideline for the second play.
But he's got a chance to see the pressure is coming.
And he's rolling out, and he's got Diaz again open in the flat. Diaz will wisely get out of bounds, stopping the clock after he picks up about 8. 1:43 left in the first half.
Yeah, and a well-designed play there, and really good job by Spears rolling to his left and not even squaring his shoulders, just kind of shot putting that one out to Diaz on the run for a nice gain.
Spears to throw again, and once again it's Diaz, and he'll take a shot. He'll hang on to the football. The clock will stop momentarily for a first down as the ball's in midfield.
Yeah, and again, there's pressure in Spears' face immediately. That was Garrett Garcia applying it that time around, but just hung in there. He took a hit, but he delivered a nice ball to Diaz, and credit to Diaz with a defender on his back, reeling that one in.
Minute 22 remaining here. First and 10 from midfield. Spears to throw again. He's straight back. He has time, and he wants Schultz, and he's almost got him. A good play by Hoy. Got just enough of the ball to knock it away.
Yeah, that was very well defended by Hoy. He was draped all over Schultz. He had his hand in his pocket nearly there. I mean, it was really good coverage, but you know, not the worst thing that could happen there. You preserve your timeout. It's a second down, no turnover, and the clock stops.
One again, in a similar situation with Diaz, I think anytime Spears sees Schultz and he's got one-on-one coverage, he's going to give him a look at the very least.
Absolutely.
And Spears to throw again. Nope, he's going to keep it himself. And he's up the middle inside the 45. The clock will move. It's going to be 3rd and about 4. And now we'll see again that decision of being aggressive or not, and if Coach Dara keeps moving or slows down a bit.
And I was wondering if Coach Roth was going to use a timeout there.
Okay, the 5 brings up a 3rd and a long 4.
Under 50 seconds now. Spears to Blessing. First down, Red Tornadoes. And now the Red Tornadoes are going to get up on the ball.
And again, I mean, the workhorse just doing what he does best and fighting for yards up the middle and making a huge play.
Now Carmel trying to preserve that final timeout as long as they can. They get up. This is what they do. Spears to throw. He wanted Diaz. He doesn't have him. Now he's got to run. And Spears is going to wisely slide down. And they're back up on the ball again. Under 25 seconds here. The clock is running.
See a clock play from the Red Tornadoes
Losing
here?
a lot of time here. And that's what it is. It's a clock play. So now it's 3rd down, but the down is less of a problem than the 16 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, I mean, there's always the possibility that what do you decide to do here? You do have a timeout left, but you don't want to let that clock give the Tigers the ball back with really any time if possible. So do you hand it to your workhorse in Blessing, and if he gets the first time, use that last timeout, take a shot to the end zone? Or do you put the ball in the air here on 3rd and long?
If it's me, I'm sticking with what works. I'm running a screen.
Yeah.
If it's incomplete, it's incomplete. If it's caught inbounds and not for a first down, no harm. Spears throws, and it's incomplete, and there's going to be a hold against the Red Tornadoes here as the Tigers brought some pressure. So we'll see if Coach Roth declines the penalty to bring up 4th down.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that's what he's going to do.
And force the Red Tornadoes to make a decision here.
Yeah, I mean, in this position on the field, it's not really worth it to punt. So you kind of have to, you're going to go for it here if you're Coach Dara, unless you decide to let Spears make an effort on a quick kick, maybe.
Quick kick is interesting. But yeah, I think you're right. I think you see, take as much, regardless of what happens, try to take as much time off this clock as you can.
Yeah, maybe roll Spears out, try to get him away from the pressure, and let him throw one into the end zone. But you do only need 8 yards.
I'll see if Coach Dara uses his timeout here to talk through it. And he will.
Yep.
What's a good reason to use that last timeout, Dave?
You can't take him with you.
There you go. See? It took 8 weeks for us to get that right.
I was ready for that one, though.
We really are moving on all cylinders here, huh? At the Silver Bowl. Again, 35-14 tonight at the Silver Bowl. We've got 12 seconds remaining in the first half. The Red Tornadoes have been dominant, putting on a terrific performance for the first 23-plus minutes here of gameplay. We want to thank tonight's sponsor, the Machuzaks, in memory of Sue Crowell, and their continued support. So it's 4th and 8. The ball's at the 34-yard line. There's 12 seconds remaining. The Red Tornadoes are out of timeouts. Coach Roth has a full complement of his. If the Red Tornadoes come out in a formation he doesn't like. The Tigers don't show blitz immediately here. Spears overlooks the defense, and now he's going to throw. He drops straight back. He's in a little trouble. He rolls to his left. He stops, and he stays on his feet and just throws it out of bounds. There's going to be 5.6 seconds left here as the Red Tornadoes turn it over.
Yeah, we'll see if this Coach Roth just decided to take a knee and take this one to the half.
1st and 10, 5.6 seconds remaining in the half.
It's a fair question. I don't know necessarily what the value is there. I think between Wise and Hoy.
Yeah.
You've got a big arm and you got a big arm at the quarterback and long arms at the receiver. I'd like to give him a shot.
Yeah.
Who knows, you catch a defensive penalty.
I mean, if I'm the Tigers, I'm looking at getting multiple guys out here in the pattern.
The Red Tornadoes have 4 defensive backs 20 yards off line. And actually the ball is fumbled, and Maddox Reed recovers, so hold on. Now there's 2.1 seconds left on the clock, and now it's up to Coach Dara if he wants to let Spears throw it into the end zone or take the knee and head into the half.
And now this is more of a discussion. You know, I think with the pep in Spears' step heading out there onto the field, I think he's going to be putting this ball in the end zone. And again, I think what the Red Tornadoes need to do here is they need to get Spears on a roll immediately. Don't let him get flushed out. Get him moving to that trip side, or look at the one-on-one down here on the bottom.
I'm looking at 15 down here by himself. Andrews is shading that way. Let Spears make the decision. He's going to roll to his right, Dan, and he's got to step up. And he floats it into the end zone. It's intercepted in the end zone, but a great effort by the Red Tornadoes there. That's another one. It'll go against Spears in the stat sheet, but that's about as good of a finish as you can have to a phenomenal first half here at the Silver Bowl. The Red Tornadoes head into the locker room leading the undefeated defending PIAA Class 2A state champion Southern Columbia Tigers 35-14. We'll be back in just a bit with stats, scores from around the area, possibly Coach Dara, and more, so stick with us.
Sondergren, is your band ready?
Hi, guys. You there now? We're at halftime?
Hey, we're here, Jose.
Hi. Hey, what do you have? Jimmy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Jim. I'm going to go real quick with some halftime stats. For Mount Carmel, 14 rushes, 132 yards, 12 of 22 passing for 220, gives us 352 yards in the first half with 17 first downs. And one of the most amazing things to me was that Xavier has 9 catches for 177 yards in the first half. The 9 catches ties the all-time single-game record held by Matt Morose and I think Timmy Wargo.
Wow.
The 177, I believe, is only second to Robbie Verano when he had that awesome game over at North Schuylkill. Danny, you might have played on that team.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I remember that game very well.
And Luke has 9 for 104.
Wow.
Now, you guys have to realize this is all unofficial. You know, it's hard to see everything from here, and I do the game on film when I leave here. But those numbers right now are just crazy, and I don't know that anybody expected any of this. For Southern, 28 rushes for 130 yards, which is a real good first half. 3 of 6 passing, 66, 196 in the first half, 8 first down. So a real good offensive first half.
Yeah, Jose, and thanks for those. We always appreciate everything. The one thing we couldn't help but notice up here was, again, you look at the scoreboard, the Red Tornadoes have put up 35 on the scoreboard in the first half. The Tigers haven't given up more than 17 in the first 7 weeks.
You're right. And I don't know the last time we scored 35 on the Tigers, period.
Yeah.
We had 34, or was it 35 last year? It was 35-14, I think, 35-21.
Yeah.
But that's it. And we had 42 in the first initial game. But this is quite unexpected. Game is not over. You have to remember Jim Roth is on the other side of the field, and that makes everything even now.
Yes, sir. And Jose, when you're down there on the sideline and you can hear what you can hear, for the Mount Carmel Tornadoes to jump out to the 21 points, the Tigers go down and score, and it's 21-8, and Mount Carmel came right back and scored again. Could you kind of feel them taking that momentum back?
Who, Southern or
no?
Mount
The Red Tornadoes.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the fumbles, and that's uncharacteristic of Southern against Mount Carmel. If you think back, what is it, 3 fumbles tonight?
Yeah.
You know, and that's very uncharacteristics, but that's what we've done in the last couple games, if you recall. And it certainly changes a game like this. But I don't think it's over. I think Jim Roth is going to come. The good thing is we get the ball again.
Yes.
So I would like to see a sustained drive and take some minutes off the clock and give them less time to come back.
Yeah, I think, and we've got the guys to do it, especially the bell cow like Blessing.
Oh, he's having a great game. Cole's having a great game. I mean, the completion percentage isn't what he normally has, but we threw a lot of long stuff at the end of the half, and that skewed things a little bit. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys go. I got to get back to work. Get to talk to you after the game.
Thanks, Jose.
Thanks,
we
Jose.
appreciate everything.
Thanks, guys.
So you get to hear from Jose indirectly a lot with us, but we wanted you to be able to hear straight from Jose. We appreciate all he does. Again, we're back here at the Silver Bowl. It's week 8 of the season. It's 35-14 Red Tornadoes on top of the Tigers. And I think we've got Alyssa down on the field again today. We're going to see if she can get a hold of Coach Dara or not. We'll give her just a second. I'm trying to find Coach Dara myself. Again, we talk about it all the time. We do a lot of really cool stuff here at WKMC TV under the leadership of Mr. Trefsker and Mr. Skaitis. And so, Alyssa, we are still kind of just keeping an eye. I'm not sure that we're going to get Coach Dara. We're ready whenever we are. There's still some activity on the field from the Tigers, it looks like. So we're kind of enjoying the night here again. 35-14. 4 touchdowns from Luke Blessing, 3 on the ground and 1 through the air so far tonight. And that's been a big chunk of the Red Tornado offense. And now Alyssa's doing what all great reporters do, and she's seeking out her subject there. So Coach Dara, understandably, in the zone. We talk about it all the time, right? John Dara, football guy. And we'll get Coach Dara here. Go ahead, Alyssa.
I'm here with Coach Dara. Coach, we've had a really good first half so far. What can we do to keep the score up for the second half and win?
We just got to finish. I told our guys before the game, don't look at the scoreboard. Scores are relevant and shouldn't affect how you play. We got to just do that the second half and finish.
Alrighty, looking forward to a win this night. Back to you, Jimmy and Danny.
Thanks, Alyssa. So it's always good to hear from Coach Dara. We appreciate that. Again, Alyssa, phenomenal job as always, chasing down Coach Dara on the sideline. See if we can catch him after the final whistle. But we did just hear a bell there, I think, indicate looks like actually they reset the clock, Dan. So
Yeah.
I've been yammering on a little bit
air
here.
horn, actually.
What do you take away from the first half?
I mean, Jim, you know, the numbers kind of tell it all there that Jose provided for us. The workhorses for the Red Tornadoes, Diaz and Blessing. I mean, they're both have accounted for, I'd say, a very large portion of the Red Tornadoes offense through these 7.5 weeks now of the season. And really, I mean, I think you're going to see some adjustments from Coach Roth and the Tigers on the defensive side of the ball. But I think what Jose said is exactly what we need to do. We need to just continue to, to pound the rock and grind out drives. We've scored quickly pretty much every time we've had the ball. And this is a fast-paced Red Tornado offense, which doesn't always bode well when you're trying to kind of defend the lead. But, we talk about it a lot of times. You see coaches that play not to lose sometimes. I don't see Coach Dara slowing down the offense at all. I think he's going to go out there and he's going to try to continue to attack through the air and on the ground. And I think you're going to see him playing to win and playing to send a message to the rest of the PIAA 2A.
Well, I think you make a great point there, Dan. And we talk about Coach Dara all the time in terms of kind of what he expects out of his team. The Red Tornadoes can win 55-0, and there's enough there for Coach to kind of say, hey, this is where we can be better, this is where we can execute better. So I'm sure, as much as Coach Dara lifted up his players at the halftime, at the break there during his halftime speech, there had to be some conversation of it being, hey, we scored 28 in the first quarter, only 7 in the second. So let's find a way to keep that offensive output pegged at 11, so to speak.
Yeah, and I mean those were definitely adjustments from the Tigers. We talked about, and we've seen it time and time again that Coach Roth comes. Sometimes these Southern Columbia Tigers come out of the break a completely different ball team. So the Red Tornadoes have to be prepared for that. The offense that we're going to see on the field first is going to have to be prepared to, kind of combat those changes that they're going to see on the defensive side, and they need to protect the football.
Yeah, and I think one thing, Dan, we talked about it a lot, the different sets and the different kind of formations that this Red Tornado offense can run could be kind of the kryptonite to Jim Roth's kind of Superman tactics in the second half of being able to make changes on his defensive side, and Mount Carmel could make changes as well.
Yeah.
And Malakowski's kick will be fielded cleanly. Kimsel will fake the reverse to Diaz. He'll get out near the 30. He'll mark him down around the 29.
Kimsel on the return for the Red Tornadoes.
Be first and 10 from there again here at the Silver Bowl in this Pennsylvania Heartland Athletic Conference matchup, sponsored tonight by the Machuzak family in memory of Sue Crowell.
Yeah, a good tackle there made by, that was number 22 for the Tigers, Nathan Gallagher, because it looked, the little fake reverse there for the Red Tornadoes. They didn't get the Tigers to bite, so I think maybe next time around you might see the Red Tornadoes handing that one off.
And it's a good start for the Red Tornadoes. Blessing picks up where he left off. His 10th carry of the night is going to put him over about 115 yards already, and it's a Red Tornado first down.
Yeah, and that tackle by Biermas, a touchdown saving tackle. And you see Luke Blessing come to the sideline there for a breather. And Cooper Karicki gets his first opportunity in this game in the Red Tornado backfield.
Certainly a well-earned opportunity. Karicki, 28 carries for 251 yards and 4 touchdowns on the season, but has really broken out over the last couple weeks.
Absolutely.
And Spears will keep this one himself right up the gut. He'll pick up about 8, and he'll be near midfield. And Dan, that's something that when the Red Tornadoes have had success against the Tigers in the past, it hasn't always been kind of right up the gut.
Right, yeah, I mean, this is, and again, it's a testament to the capabilities that the Red Tornadoes have to kind of take the top off of the defense now. They can't play as aggressively in between the tackles as they want to, the Tigers defense.
It'll be 2nd and a yard. Now Diaz, Kricky, and Bailey all in the backfield in some formation. And they'll give it to Diaz, and Diaz will be stopped short of the first down. He'll get back to the line of scrimmage and no further.
Yeah, you'll see here a big 3rd down coming up here right around midfield for the Red Tornadoes. Luke Blessing checks right back in. And you know, that just in the fashion that we expect from him, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Red Tornadoes go his way. In key plays like this, he wants the ball in his hands.
And for the first time tonight, we'll see all reliable, the true blue shotgun double wing. It's Blessing, and it's a 1st down.
Yes, it is.
So needs a yard, picks up 2, moves the chains inside Tiger territory.
And again, you know, you see the Red Tornadoes, they get their 1st down and they go right back to opening things up because you see the difference in that Tiger defense. The Tiger defense, they see that tight set. All 24 guys on the field, or 22 guys on the field are right around the line of scrimmage within 5-6 yards. That's where the Tigers defense does well.
Spears, Blessing, and the ball is on the ground, and the Tigers are going to recover it. So the first turnover for the Red Tornadoes comes inside Tiger territory when the Tigers need it the most. It'll be 1st and 10 Southern at the 33.
Yeah, and that's a tough one for Blessing. It looked like he had broken through there and had some room in front of him, but just an arm was able to knock that one loose. And again, when the Red Tornadoes were driving, they wanted to put a score on the board here to open up this second half. The Tigers defense answers the call and gets their team the ball.
Wise turns around and hands it to Garcia. And the Southern offense shows signs of life after the turnover. They get out near midfield. It's a gain of about 15.
Yeah, and you see this a lot. I mean, the Southern Columbia defense or offense kind of goes as their defense goes. Their defense, they get the turnover. They cause a lot of turnovers throughout this season, leading them to this 7-0 record. And after those turnovers, they usually come out energized on the offensive side.
This time it's Murphy, and Murphy's got the edge. This one's going to come back. There's a flag. It's a good job by Belichick of running him out of bounds, but there's going to be a hold against the Tigers.
Yeah, and that one was it's a good call by the official. It's right in front of him. Schultz trying to get off of the block there, unable to do so as he was hooked. So really good job there by the Red Tornadoes. It's unfortunate for the Tigers. They're going to go back after a nice gain. But a big play there for the Red Tornadoes.
Well, and I think sometimes too, Dan, when you see those holding calls, it's not always obvious how that hold contributed to the big gain. But in that one, it's pretty clear.
Yeah, very clear. I mean, you had Schultz there as your edge defender, and he gets held, and Murphy gets the edge. It's very, very clear that one was that play resulted from the penalty.
That'll be a 10-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. So it'll be 1st and 20 now for the Tigers back in their own territory at the 41-yard line.
There's some discussion here now.
Actually, it's not a 10-yard penalty, excuse me. I guess it was beyond the line of scrimmage.
But there's some discussion now from the officials, between the officials.
And the head official confirmed that the hold did occur about 2 yards in front of the line of scrimmage. So now Wise to throw, and he's under pressure from Widener. And he's going to float it out there, and he's got Hoy, but he's way out of bounds.
Apparently not, Jim.
And
that's going to be a completion.
Okay, so nice job of Hoy coming back to the ball.
Yeah, and a good job by Wise, evading the pressure there. And it looked like he was making an effort to throw that ball away.
So 2nd and 8 at the Red Tornado 49 for the Tigers. And they turn around, and this is Garcia. And Garcia's got some space. And he's still on his feet. He's going to cut back across the grain, and he'll take a shot, but he'll be inside the 20. So the Tigers have run 3 plays in the second half. There's been a nice completion to Hoy, but otherwise 2 big gains from Garcia. 3 official plays, I should say, Dan.
Right. But yeah, I mean this is what the Tigers do. They rely on their run game to kind of open up the lanes for the passing game, but they're gonna keep leaning on those backs.
And it's Murphy this time. He'll spin through the initial defender and get down near the 10. It's a big gain, another big gain near a first down.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like one spin move from Murphy, and he gained 8 yards. It was a pretty impressive run.
Gain of 8. Brings up a second and long.
4 minutes gone by in the third quarter, 35-14 Red Tornadoes, but the Tigers knocking on the door. 2nd and 2 from the 11, and it's Garcia again. It'll be, judging by the far official, he may have a first down.
Brought down by several Red Tornadoes.
Yeah,
It's going to be short, it looks like. They're signaling the clock should move. 3rd down.
Brings up a 3rd and short for the Tigers.
Yeah, and again, I mean, the one thing that the Red Tornado defense has done, even though they've allowed 14 points to this point, and there's been, they've allowed some drives from the Tigers, especially this drive here to start the second half, is they haven't given up the big play for points yet. They've done a good job of making the Tigers earn everything they have.
Murphy to the right, and I'm not sure. It's going to depend on the spot. He didn't gain much, but he didn't need much. And they're dropping the yard markers, which makes me think it's a first down.
But maybe not. We got okay, yeah. I thought they were waving for an official timeout, but they were waving for the clock to stop.
So it'll be 1st and goal from the 8 for the Tigers. They'll stay tight. Hoy will be split by himself to the left. It'll be Garcia directly behind Wise. Murphy comes in motion, and it'll be Garcia up the gut, and a nice play by Shimko to stop him before he got started.
Yeah, I mean, Shimko got through his blocker immediately and did a great job slowing that one down and letting the Red Tornado defense rally for no gain there.
6:20 left in the third quarter at the Silver Bowl. Red Tornado initial. Murphy. Short of the end zone, although makes 3rd down a little more palatable as it looks like he got inside the 5 to the 3.
Yeah.
The Red Tornado initial drive of the second half ended in a fumble, and since then the Tigers have marched about 60 yards for this 3rd and goal inside the 5.
Yeah, and you see Chrisman go to the sideline for the Tigers, and the Red Tornadoes make a personnel change of their own to try and shut down this Tiger offense.
Urban Lamas in the middle, and it's Garcia, and he's going to pick his way, and he's going to be stood up. He's not going to get in. So another good stop by the Red Tornadoes, and now it's 4th and goal.
Can I say it, Jim? Big 4th down here. Big 4th down here.
When you say, can I say it, I don't genuinely know what's going to come out of your mouth.
It's a big 4th down here. And you hear the crowd waking up here on both sides of the ball.
Whether it be by turnovers or on downs, the Tigers have had a few promising drives snuffed out by this defense, and the Red Tornadoes will look to do it again. 4th and 1, 35-14 Red Tornadoes. Here we go.
We've got a flag.
It's an offsides against the Red Tornadoes. Red Tornadoes pretty quickly pointed at the Tigers. But nevertheless, if you're going to get an offside penalty, I mean, that's going to be about the length of the football that it's going to move up.
And we see the Tigers, signaling to Coach Roth, run it back. And the number one guy that I saw doing that was Garrett Garcia. So you have to think that Coach Roth is going to put the ball in his hands here straight up the middle.
Well, the good news if you're the Red Tornadoes is there's nothing behind you.
Right.
So sell out here. They do. And Garcia's in. So 4:31 left in the third quarter. It's now 35-20. Garcia, his second touchdown of the night. That one from about a foot out.
Yeah. Yeah, inside the one there. And that was just, I mean, credit to the Tigers' offensive line, knowing what they needed. It looked like they kind of just went low on the Red Tornado defenders, and those chop blocks just firing out at the knees. Garcia was able to go over the top, uncontested.
It's like the Catawissa version of the tush push.
Yeah.
Carter Madden in motion. Wise is going to throw, and it is caught. So it'll be 35-22 now. And it'll be up to the Red Tornadoes to answer.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, realistically, Jim, the Tigers' defense hasn't proved to this point that they are able to silence this Red Tornado offense. I mean, one mistake there from the Red Tornado offense on that first drive has been the only thing that's made the difference here for the Tigers and gave them the ability to come downfield and put the first points of the second half on the board. So I think if the Red Tornadoes, they protect the football and they continue to just do what they're doing on offense, stay with what works and keep playing your game, I think the Red Tornadoes are going to be able to answer here.
I'm racking my brain here now, Dan. So Red Tornado drives so far tonight. We had the fumble on the last drive. We had the Spears interception with no time left on the clock to end the first half.
Yes.
Have all other drives ended in points?
That's a good question.
Good kick by Malakowski. Kimsel's going to come all the way across the field, and he takes a shot from Hoy. Actually, excuse me. I don't think that was Hoy. I'm not sure, Dan. Did you catch?
I mean, it looked like a single-digit number. I think it might have been number 4, Joey Williams.
Whoever it was a stick.
Yeah, it was.
That winning ticket number is 754-735. Again, your 50-50 winner. 754.
So now again, up 2 scores. The Red Tornadoes still very much in control, but need a strong drive to maintain that position. And the Red Tornadoes will go back to what works, and it'll be Blessing. And he'll get over the 25. This is a crazy thing to say. He'll pick up 4 for what might be his shortest run of the night.
Yeah, I think it's pretty close, if not the shortest one. But and again, Jim, you know the Red Tornado offense, they can't fret. You know, you had the 2 turnovers ended your 2 drives that you didn't get points on. Otherwise, you've moved the ball beautifully throughout this game. You just need to stay within yourself, and you need to continue to play your game, play your brand of football.
Schultz and Delaney. Delaney comes in motion behind the formation. Spears is going to throw. He's under pressure. He steps up and he floats up, and he's got Schultz. It's a huge catch by Schultz, who will be slung down by Hoy, but not before he picks up 30 yards into Tiger territory out at the 44.
And what a catch by Schultz. And again, Jim, Spears under duress, stepping up into the pocket here. You'll get a good look at it here. Pressure coming off the edge on both sides, and he steps up, throws that off of 1 foot. It was a little wobbly, but Schultz is his guy, and he reeled it in for a huge gain.
Now the Red Tornadoes want a flag, and it looks like they'll get one.
Yep.
It was a little confusing because the official that called the offside is the one closest to our sideline, and he just looks like he just dropped it on his left.
Yeah, he didn't really throw that one in there. He kind of just threw it out of his pocket. But it is the right call. I mean, we had a great vantage point of it right there on the 44-yard line. We could kind of see right down the line. You saw 80% of the Tigers' defense break the plane there of the football.
So it'll be 1st and 5 now at the 39 as the clock ticks under 3 minutes.
A little confusion here.
Yeah, but fortunately, with the penalty and the play clock being reset, the Red Tornadoes are no real danger here of needing to burn a timeout or delay a game. But to your point, Dan, definitely a little confusion. Here comes the Tigers again. Spears hands it off to Blessing, and Blessing goes right off the right side for another first down.
And that's it, Jim. From what it looks like, and you know, we don't have the best vantage point up here because we're kind of getting the side profile. But from what it looks like, the Blessing is getting the ball and just finding where there's not a blitzing linebacker, and he's going to the hole. And it's almost like a zone blocking scheme for the Red Tornadoes. They're just picking up the first guy in front of them and hoping that Blessing is able to find the hole, which he has been doing to this point so far.
Spears to throw. The screen is set up, and he's got Diaz again. Diaz is all by himself in the middle of the field. It's just going to be a foot race, and nobody's going to catch number 10. It is 41-22 after a 32-yard touchdown pass from Spears to Diaz.
And again, Jim, this Red Tornado offense has just been dialing up the right play on nearly every play.
So with that touchdown, the Red Tornado lead stretches back out to 3 scores, and Shoppy's kick makes it an even 20-point advantage here for the Red Tornadoes with 1:59 left in the third quarter here at the Silver Bowl as they face off against the undefeated Southern Columbia area Tigers.
And Jim, you know, as we talked about it before, early on in the game when the lead was at 21 or at 3 scores, there's a lot of football left to play. Now we're just under 2 minutes here left in the third quarter. And now not only is this nearly unstoppable Red Tornado offense and defense working against the Tigers, but also that clock and that time looms heavy when you're down 3 scores against a team like this Tornado team.
And we talked about it before. We talked about it in the first half. We talked about it at halftime, and I'm going to talk about it again. I can't say enough about how every time it feels like the opposing sideline here, the guys in white, every time it feels like they might be starting to take a little bit of the momentum, take a little wind out of the Red Tornado sails.
Yeah.
Mount Carmel gets the ball back and drives down the field and scores a touchdown.
Yeah, and Jim, it's something that, you know, we talked about Supper Club earlier, something that Coach Dara mentioned at Supper Club last night is that he's just tried to instill into his guys that you're going to have to deal with adversity. There's going to be adversity in football. The game of football is like the game of life, and they have dealt with it beautifully to this point.
Blessing's kick there is going to go out of bounds. So it'll be good field position for the Tigers to start this drive. And again, we talked about it a little bit in the first half. I just want to make mention again here, tonight's sponsor, the Machuzak family, in memory of Sue Crowell. Again, Sue Crowell was a longtime supporter of Mount Carmel Athletics as well as the past owner of Mount Carmel Fitness Center. More than 20 years of athletes from Mount Carmel use their facility, the fitness center that is, and Sue was a guiding force that impacted the lives of many young men and women. There's so many people that love Sue very much, and her family wanted to sponsor the game tonight in her honor. Wise is going to throw, and he's got Hoy in the middle of the field, but he just misses him. It's a great route by Hoy. He split the Red Tornado defenders, and Wise had just a little too much mustard on it.
You're absolutely right, Jim. I mean, you talk about the route, and it's exactly what you want. It's a post route. Is that you run to one of the field goal posts, or you split the 2 deep safeties, and that's what the Red Tornadoes did, or what Hoy did. He split the Red Tornado safeties and made a really great attempt at that. Wise I think he saw him and got a little excited, just put a little too much juice on that one.
Number 1, Chase Belichick, down in the Red Tornado, near the Red Tornado end zone here, the Southern Columbia end zone, about the 11-yard line. He'll be 10-2 here by Star Physical Therapy and Fitness. And while we have a pause here on the field, you know, we've been pretty excited today. There's been a lot going on, but one thing we always like to just talk about again is that this is a this is a student-run TV studio that's able to bring this to you live every Friday night, as well as later in the week, and then certainly the production you get to see on Wednesday nights as well. We appreciate all the work the students do as we go forward here. Blichik's up off the field, walking off under his own power. So great to see there. Hopefully he's back in that defensive backfield before too long.
And Jim, the thing that I was pointing at there, and I know I do that a lot, but it was, just you kind of start scoping the field to see who's going to go in there to replace Blichik while he's tended to. And it is number 30, Johnny Morgani. And, we talked about him at length over the past few weeks, and he's just another guy in this Red Tornado defensive backfield, this Red Tornado secondary, that has earned his spot back there. He's earned that opportunity to get out there when he does.
Morgani currently leads the Red Tornadoes in interceptions with 3 on the season.
Yeah.
So in addition to the 3 interceptions, he's got 2 passes defended and a fumble recovery. So not to mention the kickoff return for a touchdown a few weeks back. So Morgani does a little bit of everything. And on 2nd and 10, it's that quick pitch to Murphy. And a good job there by the Red Tornadoes of turning him back inside. But Murphy keeps his feet and turns what probably should have been only a 2-yard gain into about a 9-yard gain.
Yeah, and we've talked about it at length in years past, just the ability of Southern Columbia Tigers running backs to stay on their feet. It looked like he was hemmed in and was able to keep his shoulders square, stayed on his feet, and made a really nice gain out of something that looked like nothing.
That's Garcia right up the middle, and he'll have just enough for the first down, but a good job by Reed sticking his nose in there and upending the big 23.
Yeah.
We'll get Shimko and Bumps here. We'll switch spots.
And the other thing the Red Tornado defense has done a really good job of is keeping those linemen fresh on that defensive line. There's between Lamas and Bumps and Shimko, at the nose tackle position, they're always rotating in and out.
Wise to throw, and he's going to get it out there to Chrisman. But look at all those red jerseys. He's going to come back across the field and make a nice individual effort by number 1 to get into Red Tornado territory, but Mount Carmel kind of saw that coming the whole way.
Yeah, the Red Tornadoes read it really well. Credit to number 67, John Quinton, on the Tiger offensive line. He's pretty much the reason that Chrisman was able to turn that upfield. He made a nice block to spring that for the short gain that Chrisman was able to get.
And give him 4, so it's 2nd and 6 from midfield. And it's going to be Carter Madden is going to be driven backwards. And Dan called it earlier in the night. The Tigers try to run that reverse, and there's too much penetration across that defensive line.
And that time around, Jim, it wasn't just the penetration to the ball side, but it was the backside penetration as well.
And you hear the crowd stand and erupt, because that play is about as indicative of anything you've seen as the 3rd quarter comes to a close. The Red Tornadoes lead 42-22 after 3 full quarters here at the Silver Bowl.
And Jim, again, this has just been a impressive showing from the Red Tornadoes on both sides of the football tonight. We talked about the point totals that the Tigers defense has let up, but we didn't really talk about how potent their offense has been to this point. And with this Red Tornado defense, they're retaining the ball. They're not turning the ball over. They're retaining possession of the football the majority of the time, and they're doing just a tremendous job of just, putting points up when the opportunity presents itself. They haven't missed many opportunities on the offensive side of the ball, which has kept the ball out of the Tigers' hands. And when the ball is in the Tigers' hands, this Red Tornado defense has been there.
So it'll be 3rd and 11 after the stop in the backfield. The Tigers will have to open up a little bit here and may need to do so more and more as the night goes on. But Wise is going to throw, and it's batted at the line of scrimmage yet again. And we'll have to check the replay to see exactly who got their hand on that. But it's 4th and 11, and Coach Roth has a choice to make.
And I think that you're down 3 scores here into the 4th quarter. I don't think the choice is very difficult. I think the Red. Wow, maybe I'm wrong.
You're right. It wasn't difficult. He decided to punt.
Yeah.
But so we appreciate all the angles and everything we get from the WKMC TV production crew. But you can see there on the replay that Maddox Reed was able to bat that ball down, and Dan's pointing at Garcia saying, just be careful.
Yeah, remember who the punter is.
And it's a good punt from Garcia. It's a knuckleball. Diaz is going to have trouble with it, and he's going to fall on it, fortunately. So it'll be 1st and 10 Red Tornadoes at the 15. And an offense that hasn't shown too many weaknesses tonight will have an opportunity to try to start the process of perhaps salting this one away.
No, I mean, there's no signs of slowing down in this Red Tornado offense. And Jim, 11:49 is still a lot of time, especially with how high-powered the Tigers offense has been prior to this game against the Red Tornadoes tonight. So you never want to start playing, hey, let's run the clock out. Not this early. So I think we're going to see the Red Tornadoes doing exactly what they've done all game long.
Absolutely right, Dan. You see the Red Tornadoes come out wide open, as expected. Blessing, as expected, but this time the defense calls the right blitz. They bring both Fedorov and Garcia, and Blessing's going to be dropped for a loss.
Yeah, and you're right. Blessing, credit to him, was able to kind of spin off of Fedorov coming from one side, but he spun right into the waiting arms of Garcia, who was coming off the other side. And again, this is where kind of, the Tigers are going to start ramping things up and bringing more pressure, I think, to stop the run, sending more run blitzes, because they anticipate that's what the Red Tornadoes are going to do. That's why you can't take your foot off the pedal here if you're Coach Dara.
And Blessing has the ball, and he's got the sideline. He's going to do what he can to stay in bounds. So it'll be back to the original line of scrimmage about at the 15. It'll be 3rd and 10. And I think, again, we talked about Fedorov and Garcia. Those two, if memory serves me correct in what I read this week, from a single-season tackle standpoint, they are number 1 and 2 all time at Southern. Garcia had 205 2 years ago, and Fedorov had 158.
Wow, those are pretty impressive numbers.
So anytime one of those two isn't making the tackle, you have to feel like it's a win. And now Spears to throw, and he's got time, and he was looking for, and there's a flag thrown. He was looking for Belichick. It was incomplete, but we got a flag. Now, where the official threw it, I'll be curious to see what it is. It should be an illegal contact or a hold against the Tigers based on the initial signature, but it's a
ineligible man downfield. I didn't see anybody downfield for the Red Tornadoes.
Oh, so I perhaps.
But I think Coach Ross is probably going to decline this one.
I'm wondering, because the official clearly pointed in the Tiger direction, but I'm wondering now if he was pointing at where a Red Tornado was, perhaps. But I think, as expected, Coach Roth declined. And now for the first time tonight, we're going to see Max Karicki come out to punt. And he'll be punting to Murphy and Williams. Red Tornadoes a little difficult. Again, they've punted so rarely tonight.
Yeah.
And a little challenge there, making sure they had all 11. But it's a good snap. And it's a good punt by Karicki. Good high punt. And it's fumbled. And there's the ball. And Schultz had a chance, and it looks like Murphy's going to be able to get back on top of it. But my goodness. Almost disaster for the Tigers.
And I mean, that was Schultz all the way there. I mean, Schultz was I believe it was Schultz pushing the blocker into Murphy as he was trying to get. Oh, actually, no, it was just a miscommunication there.
So a nice punt by Karicki.
Yeah.
The Tigers will be set up. 1st and 10 at the 46 of the Red Tornadoes. And they'll go back to somewhat of their tight formation. Wise is going to try to flip it out there to Crispin. And Crispin has trouble with it. It'll fall incomplete, 2nd and 10.
Yeah, and again, this, we talked about it, Jim. A 20-point deficit here into the 4th quarter. This is not familiar territory for the Tigers. And they're... When all else fails, they run the ball, the Tigers. So realistically, they're not in their comfort zone, down 3 scores and essentially needing to put the ball in the air.
When if you go back a year ago when the Red Tornadoes were victorious in the regular season, a big part of that was forcing the Tigers to throw late in the ball game, as they're forced to do here. Wise is going to unload it, and he's looking for Hoy, and Delaney does a good job.
No way.
And that penalty is going to be entirely on the fact that Delaney doesn't turn his head around, regardless of the fact that there's no contact.
And he made every effort to knock the ball away. Just because he didn't get his head turned around, there's going to be a penalty there, even though he attempted to make a play on the football. And that's a tough one there. You see the captain of the defense there, Maddox Reed, go to Delaney and talk to him immediately and let him know, hey, that's not you.
So the Red Tornadoes now, again, where is this guy running to?
Yeah, looked like they turned that into a 15-yard penalty.
So it'll be down to the 31 now.
Either way, a long penalty.
On what should have been 3rd and 10.
Yeah.
Or what should have resulted in a 3rd and 10, excuse me.
Right.
Now Wise is going to throw again. He's under pressure immediately. And he just gets the ball out now. Garcia was in the area, so there's no intentional grounding, but it falls harmlessly to the turf.
Yeah, it appeared that the Tigers were attempting to set up a screen, and Maddox Reed just said, listen, you're going to let me go through? He said, I'm going to take advantage of that. Got pressure on Wise, forced the bad throw, and got to hurry, and got some hands on the quarterback as well.
And you can almost see Coach Roth going into his bag of tricks here to see what can I use, how can I generate a spark, I need a big play.
Absolutely.
Murphy comes in motion, they hand it to him. But again, the Red Tornadoes are there, and Murphy's going to pick up a few yards, but that chunk play just isn't there on the ground for the Tigers tonight.
No, it hasn't been there. I mean they've been able to break a few, but the Red Tornadoes, again, just the lateral speed has been impressive.
And for the first time in what seems like a long time, a play ends and the clock continues to move. And it's that quick pitch to Murphy. And Murphy's going to have the first down inside the 20, down to the 19.
But again, Jim, this is one of those situations where for the Tigers, you need that chunk play. You need that quick hitter to get points on the board. And the Red Tornado defense has just kind of been shutting down any opportunity for a quick score. They're going to make you earn everything.
It's Garcia, and he'll stumble, and he stays on his feet. Nice job there. But a great job, is that Ben Miller?
Yes, it is.
That chases him down from behind for a short gain.
Yeah, and again, that clock continues to tick.
And Dan, as the clock ticks and you look at where the ball is and the down and distance, I can't help but feel that whether it's offensively or defensively, the Red Tornadoes are going to need one more big play tonight.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. There's still a lot of time left in this game. A turnover on this drive would be a backbreaker.
And it's the toss out to Hoy. Nice job by Schultz coming down the line to tackle him from behind. And it's going to be short of the first down, so it'll be third and about a yard. Ball sits inside the 10 at the 9. And we've got 8 minutes remaining here. The Red Tornadoes lead 42-22. But the Tigers knocking on the door. And it's the handoff to Murphy. And Murphy's going to try to get the edge. And he's in. Touchdown, Tigers. And it's not over yet, folks. 42-28 as the lead is cut to 14.
Now, Jim, now you start to call into question here with where the clock is, just under 8 minutes to go, 2-score deficit. You kicking an onside?
I don't think so. I think my defense just forced the 3 and out on the last drive, and I'm going to let them cook.
think that's the right call.
Wise is going to throw, and he's got Murphy wide open. So 42-30.
Complete to Murphy for the 2-point conversion. Your score with 7 minutes, 49 seconds remaining in the ballgame. Mount Carmel
And
area
Jim, I mean, the
42,
score is very different, but this game is starting to give me flashbacks to 2011. I mean, where this game may come down to a 2-point conversion attempt to send it into overtime and or decide the game. But these are two very different teams on the field than 12 years ago.
Well, we're trying to see here how Malakowski lines up again. It certainly doesn't look like an onside attempt here.
But it appears that the Red Tornadoes are gathering their hands team, just in case.
So again, as Dan pointed out, 7:49.
And that's definitely the Red Tornadoes hands team, as you see Spears on the field.
Yeah,
You're not usually going to
Spears,
see
Tate
him.
Adams, Fesniak, Belichick, Schultz, Reed, Kimzel, Blessing, and it's a kick deep. Diaz taking on a hop. Gonna see, and he can make a few guys miss as he loses his footing. So it'll be 1st and 10 from the 27. And again, as they've done all night, the Red Tornadoes will look to answer a Tiger score with one of their own.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll see. Again, Jim, I felt like Coach Dara kind of played it conservative on the previous drive. I think this is a situation here where let's go back to what's worked to this point. Let's put the ball in the air. Let's put the ball in the air, counter with Blessing, and see if we can put another score on the board to kind of seal this one.
Spears is going to throw right away, and he's got Belichick taking advantage of that cushion. Does a nice job staying in bounds. He'll be close to the first down. Have to wait and see. Although if you're the Red Tornadoes, perhaps you don't hate if it's 2nd and a foot.
But he's got the first down,
It's
Jim.
a first down, though, so okay. So new set, although the chains aren't moving.
Yeah, you finally get the sign from the head referee there.
But again, you'll see no rush out of the Red Tornadoes here, despite their speed. The hard count from Spears, no takers from the Tigers. 10 seconds on the play clock. The ball at the 37-yard line. And Spears to Blessing. And Blessing will be hit initially by 39 Krebs and finished off by 31 Colton Bloom after a gain of a yard.
Yeah, that's a good job by the Tiger defense there. Reading that play, that's kind of been, we've seen it a lot throughout this year. That's been Blessing's, his out and up the sideline route that he likes to take. It's kind of through the 5-hole or the 6-hole to this near side and then down the sideline. But Krebs did a good job pinching down and making a stop.
Spears to Blessing again. And again, the Tigers stop Blessing for no gain. That time Garcia.
So now I understand the reasoning of putting the ball on the ground. You don't want an incompletion to stop the clock. But here in a 3rd and long here, I think you want the first down more than you want to keep the clock running.
Well, as you talk about that strategy, Dan, it's probably important to point out both coaches have all 3 timeouts left. And Spears is going to go up top, and he's got Belichick. He's got Belichick. It's a huge gain. Exactly what you said, Dan. You take the shot, and it's 1st and 10 Mount Carmel at the Southern 22. It was 3rd and 10.
And Jim, it appeared that Belichick and Andrews got tangled up there, and Andrews kind of stumbled, but so did Belichick. But Belichick was able to recover and not only make the tremendous reception to extend the drive, but also stay in bounds.
Yeah.
You get the clock stops to reset the chains, but the chains are set, and that clock is moving again, Jim.
We're at 5.5 minutes remaining now. Again, a fresh set of downs for the Red Tornadoes just outside of the red zone. 10 seconds on the play clock. Spears resets. And he's going to throw again. Now he's under pressure, and he wisely throws it away. Stops the clock with 5:14 remaining.
Yeah, and you know, unfortunately for the Reds, it looks like Diaz limping a little bit, and I think it's noticeable for the Tigers that they kind of knew that they weren't gonna, Red Tornadoes weren't gonna go his way, and that was kind of just a show me play there. Spears looking his direction.
And when the going gets tough, the Red Tornadoes do as they do. Shotgun double wing. And it's Blessing. And he's going to try to get to the outside, but the Tigers are well versed in that. And he's going to be dropped by Bloom, Fedorov, and Krebs off the bottom of the pile, first on scene. So the elation that came with the big play to Belichick kind of tempered a little bit here as it's 3rd and 12 now. The Red Tornadoes have since run 2 plays and lost 2 yards.
And I think again, you know, when the going gets tough, you do what's worked to this point. I think we're going to see Spears put the ball in the air, and keep an eye on Blessing. You know that the Tigers are going to bring pressure. You see everybody up near the line of scrimmage. Keep an eye on Blessing on a screen.
Red Tornadoes just get the play off, and they got Belichick again. I think it's going to be short, but there's a flag on the play, and it's going to be an illegal man downfield on the Red Tornadoes yet again. And something these officials are looking for that more than anything else.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate for the Red Tornadoes because and you know, we talked about it. Sometimes that's the danger of these real RPOs that the Red Tornadoes are running.
And I think, as we've said before, what's frustrating is this Red Tornado offense looks exactly as it's looked the last 8 weeks. And I don't know that we've seen that called once. And I can think of at least 3 instances tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's
So you can't help but feel that that's a decision being made, that somebody's noticing that perhaps the Red Tornadoes have a lineman sneak out on those RPOs.
Yeah, I mean these are plays that are like it's the linemen get 2 yards. You get usually 2 to 3 yards, and that's not always the thing that's being looked for when there's so much holding and hand battling in the secondary that hasn't been called tonight.
So 4:08 and counting left. It'll be right around 4 minutes when Spears snaps the ball. It's 3rd and 17 from the 29. And he's going to hand it to Blessing. And the Red Tornadoes are content. And we'll get a timeout here from Coach Roth, his first of the half. So it's going to be 4th. Looks like, see where they mark it. He's going to lose at least a yard, if not 2.
Yeah.
Now, here's a question, Dan. What are you doing here?
I'm putting the ball in the hands of my quarterback. He's, you know, him and Blessing, you know, Spears and Blessing have kind of carried the team to this point, along with obviously the receivers. But I'm putting the ball in the hands of Spears and saying, hey, we need 18 yards. It just got fixed here. We need 18 yards for first down, and this game is over. I'm making sure that Spears is aware of that. Like, 18 yards, and this game is over.
So what I'm wondering here is between Belichick and Schultz.
Yeah.
You're going to send them both out one way, right? Each on one side of the field.
Yeah.
You look and see where the Tigers shade, and you throw it the other way.
Yeah. We talked about it earlier. If I'm throwing up a 50-50 ball, I like my guys' chances.
Or in this case, it's a true cover 2 look from the Tigers, it looks like.
So I'll be looking for Fesniak maybe in the middle of the field.
Spears, quick hard count. Tigers don't jump enough. Now the Red Tornadoes are going to tighten up a little bit here. They'll go a stack to the wide side of the field. Spears is going to go straight back. He's got time. He floats it out to to Blessing. And Blessing's going to try to stay on his feet. But that one was dead in the water, so it'll be a turnover on downs here 1st and 10 for the Tigers at about the 29-yard line. They trail by 12 with 3 minutes and 45 seconds remaining here at the Silver Bowl.
And again, Jim, now this is a situation for the Red Tornadoes where the offense calls on that defense. Like, hey, listen, we put 42 points up on the board for you tonight. You can't really ask for a whole lot more. We need you to get a stop, or at least run this clock out.
Wise to throw. He goes straight back. He's got time. He rolls out. Now he's going to run. Miller's the only one that can get to him, and Wise will duck out of bounds after he picks up the first down. So a smart play by the quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that only takes 6 seconds off the clock, and it gets you a first down. I mean, it's a really good play there by Wise, especially knowing that the Red Tornadoes are kind of playing to combat the pass.
So now it's always frowned upon when you make cross-sport references, but the phrase that keeps going through my head right now, Dan, is no doubles.
Right.
Right, nothing over your head if you're a Red Tornado defender.
Yeah, yeah. And the phrase for the Tigers, at least, is we need a home run play.
Wise to throw again, and he's got Hoy, and the Red Tornadoes do a good job of keeping him in front of him. Now it's going to be a first down at midfield.
Maybe you see the Tigers now showing a little bit of urgency
That
with
clock
their
will
offense.
run once it's set. Once the ball was set, under 3.5 left. Wise sends Carter Madden in motion. The ball's on the ground. They still struggle with it. Finally,
and that clock
that's
keeps
number
ticking.
70, Caden Schultz, will fall on it, but it'll be a big loss all the way back to the 44-yard line. It's going to be second and about 16 now. And to Dan's point, clock's been running this whole time. We'll be under 3 minutes by the time the Tigers snap this one. Wise to throw yet again, under pressure. He floats it out. A great job by Hoy coming back to the ball, but he's down in bounds. So the clock will continue to move.
And Hoy injured on the play.
And he's up and takes the quick walk to the sideline. So we'll see here as they try to set this up. The Tigers making good use of the timeout. The Red Tornadoes back out there ready to play. Tigers in their huddle on the sideline with coaches and water.
Yeah. As that
the clock is running.
As it should have been.
2:25 and counting. Wise to throw again. And he's got Carter Madden, but again, down in bounds, and it's fourth down.
Yes, it is, Jim. So, I mean, this is a situation where if you're Coach Roth, I'd be spending a timeout now. But he's confident with his guys that he can get this play off and get a first down here.
Under 2 minutes here. The crowd comes to life. Wise to throw, and it's intercepted by Delaney. Intercepted by Delaney.
And that will do it, folks. That will do it.
1 minute and 50 seconds remain here. The Red Tornadoes will take over first and 10 at the 47-yard line. The Tigers have 2 timeouts and trail by 2 scores.
And I wasn't sure that play was even going to get off, Jim, because it appeared that the Tigers receiver was lined up off sides. But they let them play, and thankfully they did. Delaney comes up with a huge play.
Spears, Blessing, he's dropped in the backfield.
And you see Coach Roth kind of seeing the writing on the wall. Doesn't appear that he's going to be using his timeouts.
Interesting. We're under 90 seconds here at the Silver Bowl. The Mount Carmel faithful came to see a show tonight, and boy, did the Big Red deliver.
They absolutely did.
On senior night, no less.
Yeah, the final home game of the regular season.
Spears, Blessing.
Just go down.
Yep,
There you
Blessing
go.
does drop inbounds. And now we're going to get a timeout from the Tigers. 57.8 seconds remaining.
And again here, Jim, I mean, what do you do here if you're Coach Dara? You got a 3rd and long. Roth has one more timeout. I mean, you have a 2-score lead. You want to run the clock. But why not take a shot?
I think usually I like when you call for shot plays. I think at this point, I'm going right up the middle again.
Yeah.
Let's see what Coach Roth does. Maybe he'll use his final timeout. Maybe he won't. But in any event, if the play takes 4 seconds off the clock and I have to punt with 53 seconds left and a 2-score lead, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's all right. I guess that's fair.
You just like to keep it interesting.
I do. I like, always the what if. How about a backside throw here to Schultz?
Spears is going to keep it himself. He's going to go down in bounds as expected. The Tigers will call a timeout as expected. And there'll be 50.3 seconds left when the Red Tornadoes snap the football to presumably punt it away. And we see Kricky head out there.
Yeah.
Just again, another reminder, tonight's game sponsored by the Machuzak family in memory of Sue Crowell. We appreciate that support.
And what a game it has been, Jim. What a game it has been.
I don't know why, but I will still feel much better in 50.3 seconds.
I agree. You see Coach Dara calling for his, making sure he gets the correct personnel out there before he breaks the huddle.
Well, and you see the Tigers are going to come after this one, which I'm sure is what Coach Dara alerted his team to. So the Gunners will come in a little bit tighter here, not so much worried about the return from Murphy, provided you get the punt off clean.
Yeah, we got a max protect punt here. You need a good snap, and Kricky needs to get it out quickly.
It's a high snap, and it's a high kick. Almost blocked. It'll be 1st and 10 Tigers right at the Mount Carmel 40 with 44 seconds left. And again, the Tigers are out of timeouts. They trail by 2 scores. They are running out of time, but they are not out of time.
Right. We've seen crazier things happen. So you never, as you said, you'll feel a lot more comfortable here when the clock finally does strike 0.
Wise will have to throw here. And he goes straight back, and he's looking for Hoy. And he's under pressure. He's got to roll. He's going to try to set his feet and sling it, and it's deep, incomplete. So the clock will stop with 36.5. And kind of again, as you know, Dan, we saw this 12 months ago in a similar situation. This Tiger offense, for all its greatness and for everything that Coach Roth has been able to do with this, it's not always adept at making these kind of comebacks late in the game.
No, not. Again, this is a team, and take no credit away from Blake Wise and the passing attack of this Southern Columbia area Tigers team, but this is a run-heavy, run-first team. When all else fails, they go to the ground. When they have to throw, they're usually in a tough spot.
And it's Delaney again! It's Delaney again, and he's going to go down. And again, reminiscent of last season's Week 8 victory for the Red Tornadoes. Late turnovers and early turnovers by the Tigers end up being their demise.
Absolutely, Jim. And I mean, you think about it, the fumbles early and the interceptions late here for the Tigers have absolutely swayed this game in the Red Tornadoes' direction.
And it was not without concern.
Yeah.
It was not without its heart-stopping moments at time.
And we're going to see the victory formation here from the Red Tornadoes. They should only have to snap it once.
And now we will wait. And if you have a minute, I'm going to stay quiet for a second. Listen to this crowd.
As the clock winds down, ladies and gentlemen, we say never get the points. We take your classic here at the Silver Bowl.
As we're under 10 seconds left on the clock, the players are on the field. The handshakes have begun. And in 3 seconds here, the celebration can now begin. The Red Tornadoes have snapped another streak against the Tigers. This time is the Tigers' 15 consecutive wins coming into tonight.
Yeah.
7-0 on the season, now 7-1. And Dan, you said something to me at halftime.
Yeah.
And I said, hold on, let's wait until after the game to talk about that.
Yeah. I think you can look back to week 4 at Milton as the turning point for not just this Red Tornado team, but specifically this Red Tornado offense. Because since then, they have scored 50 plus in 3 straight, and then came home and beat the defending AA state champions on their home turf and put 42 points up on the board. I mean, that's one of the most impressive feats I've seen from this Red Tornadoes team is just the offensive attack and the way that the defense played when things got difficult.
When I think, and Dan, I feel like I'm giving you a lot of credit tonight, and it makes me a little uneasy, but I'm going to do it anyway. You mentioned early on tonight the comments Coach Darren made at Supper Club last night about adversity.
Yep.
It seemed as though every time it felt like this game might be swinging back to the Tigers, the defense stepped up, the offense scored, put more points on the board. There was always some answer to whatever the Tigers were doing.
Absolutely, Jim. I mean, the Red Tornadoes, and the credit to the coaching staff and the players on the field just executing. And it's one of those things where we haven't seen the Red Tornado offense, even in these games where they're scoring 50-plus points, have the success that they've had tonight. And, I mean, I can't wait to see the final numbers from Jose.
Yeah, and we're fortunate enough. I think we've got Jose with us again here at the final. So, Jose, what do you have for us, sir?
Yeah, we're here. It's just crazy. Now, first I'm going to have a little disclaimer. This is unofficial because I'll do the whole thing on a film later. But for Mount Carmel, 30 rushes for 171 yards, 17 of 29 passing. And here's a number you have to pay attention to, 355 yards in the air, 24 first downs. Let me get that into perspective. Cole did all of that, 17 of 29, 355, establishes a new single-game passing record, surpassing Zach Wachaleski's 315 against North Schuylkill back in 2013, or Danny, when you were there.
2012.
212.
Yes,
all right. To add to that, Xavier cramped up and didn't end up finishing the game, but he broke the single game record with 10 receptions, surpassing Morose and Timmy Wargo for 209 yards.
Wow.
Which is 18 yards shy of Robbie Verano's 227 that he had at that North Schuylkill game. So all in all, 526 yards of offense for Mount Carmel. For Southern, 47 for 226, which is a great night in and of itself. 9 of 19 for 107, so that's 333. So you're looking at over 850, almost 850 yards of offense tonight.
Wow.
In this game, and I think it was as exciting as it looked here, and it's going to look better watching it back.
Absolutely.
You guys have fun up there?
Oh, Jose, I don't know if you'd call it fun. We were sweating it out here all the way through. We had a blast, and at one point I made a comment, even even once after Delaney's first interception, I said, I'll still feel a lot better in another 50 seconds or so.
Yeah, and then he gets his second one, and we got to realize this kid's a freshman.
Yeah.
There's so much upside for that kid. It's crazy, but this was a team win all the way around. You got to give the guys up front a lot of credit. You don't get this over 500 yards of offense without some guys taking care of business. So a great night to be a Red Tornado, as Aaron always says, and looking forward to the next two. It puts us in better shape going forward, but I'm sure the coaches are going to be excited to hear some of this stuff tonight.
I think so, Jose. And again, as always, we appreciate kind of what you provide, not just in the moment, but kind of the historical context and the importance of understanding. We talk about it every week. This is a phenomenal program. It's the best, best in the state, best in the country, all those things. And we're not able to understand kind of all of it without.
The guys got to go. I got to go. They got to go. But you're still here. So hold on. Great talking to you guys.
Thanks Jose.
Bye-bye.
Yep. So we appreciate Jose as always. We're going to hang out here for a second as Alyssa. We'll wait, give her a second. I think Coach Dara is meeting with WNEP 16, as you might expect, after such a big win and such a big game. And Dan, going into tonight, I went and I looked at some of those, I think those Eastern PA football previews that we see.
Yeah.
And those come out in August.
Yep.
And you go through and it's like, oh, games to watch this season.
Yeah.
Week 8.
It's always.
Southern Columbia at Mount Carmel.
Yes, sir. And whether it's Southern Columbia at Mount Carmel or Mount Carmel at Southern Columbia, any time that this game is on the schedule, I mentioned it, I think, at the outset, that this game is always circled on the schedule, because not only just the crosstown rivals, not the proximity, the rivalry, but also just the district implications, district championship, district playoffs leading into, we talked about it before. The majority of the last few years, I think the correct amount, so I'm just going to say a lot of the last few years, the District 4 or the AA state champion has come out of District 4.
I can tell you at least the last 6, because
Yeah.
it's been the guys that were wearing white tonight.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, wow, just a tremendous game all around here. And like Jose said, I mean, I talked about it that, anytime this you see this game, I've been out of school for a long time now, but being up here in the booth for the past 6 years, and 11 meetings probably, I think, over those past 6 years that we've seen, and going down to even years before we kind of took over this job, just coming back, you always come back for this game. You always want to keep your eye on this game and just see how your alma mater, how the Red Tornadoes fare against those Southern Columbia Tigers. And again, it's a great night to be a Red Tornado.
Well, and I think, again, the biggest thing is you have the loss last year in the district championship game. That's always going to sting anytime your season ends, regardless of the circumstances. It's going to sting.
Yeah.
But what was so important is you look at the big players out there and who really had a night tonight in terms of Blessing and Spears and Diaz. All those guys. Well, Spears understandably wasn't 100%. He didn't play, I don't believe, but last season they were all part of that team that beat Southern for the first time in over a decade.
Yeah.
So that recognition that, hey, we can do this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that plays a huge factor in it. Because it was so long prior to last year in the regular season that the Red Tornadoes hadn't won, but now, they all saw that they are capable of beating this team, and they got the opportunity to do it again tonight.
And now our sideline reporter extraordinaire, Alyssa, is heading over to catch Coach Dara. So let's send it down to Alyssa.
I'm here with Coach Dara. Coach, we had one heck of a game tonight. I mean, we got so many touchdowns in the first quarter only. Jalen Delaney, a freshman, had 2 interceptions. This is the second year in a row beating Southern. Can you just give me some of your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, it was a great game. I'm really proud of our kids. A lot of hard work went into this in the offseason and during the season. And I'm just really proud of the way they responded to some adversity early in the year. And just really happy for our guys.
All righty. Thank you. Jimmy and Danny, back to you.
Thanks, Alyssa.
Thanks, Alyssa.
Well, there it is. Again, I don't mean to keep beating the same drum, but that's John Dara, football guy.
Absolutely.
42-30 win over arch rival. Not a smile to be found.
No.
No, I'm sure Coach will get in the locker room and celebrate with his team. But I think it's been a great night here at the Silver Bowl. It seems like a good time as any to wrap it up. So next week we'll be at Shikellamy, week 9.
Yep.
And the Red Tornadoes look to kind of move forward again. It'll be the Shikellamy game and followed by the wrap-up of the regular season at Shamokin. So, again, it seems like a good time to go ahead and get out of here. So I'm Jim Lesko.
And I'm Dan Lesko.
And for Jose Gonzalo, this has been a WKMC TV broadcast sponsored by the Machuzak family in memory of Sue Crowell. 42-30, the Red Tornadoes are victorious. Thanks for spending your night with us. We hope you join us next week. And go Big Red.